greatest rebound and rebuild with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter? He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, Thursday, everybody. As they call it in Guam, they call it in Guafta.
It is. You're way better than the SEC commissioner.
Thursday
or
today.
the college baseball commissioner.
Stetson athletic director. Yeah, I would
He's
say that I'm a bit more radio polished than the Stetson athletic director. What can I? That's on my resume, actually. That is on my resume. Yeah,
I would endorse that on LinkedIn.
There is a video of the Stetson athletic director on my digital resume. That is supposed to somehow boost me.
Just look at this. They're like, yeah, you're probably qualified.
He's got a great point. This guy's got a great point there. Hey, a lot going on in college sports. I know we keep talking about it, but they say that college sports will slow down over the course of the summer, and I know they will at some point, but they haven't yet. There's still plenty of stuff going on in full swing. Today, breaking news less than an hour ago, Andy Thomas named an All-American, third-team All-American. He is one of just a handful of Baylor players in history to receive the All-American nod.
Deservedly so, too. I mean, for the way that he played this season, being kind of that senior presence, an older guy, a guy who's been around the program, excited for him, and that's definitely well-deserved for the way that he was slugging this season.
Only two guys have been first-team All-American all-time for Baylor, and they both came 20 years ago. Kelly Shopback and then Jason Jennings.
He was pretty good behind the dish, too, Thomas was.
Yeah, he was.
He did a lot. He wasn't just a big bat. Like, he did it all over the field.
I'm sorry, Kyle.
Or all over, I guess, both offense and defense.
Kyle Hill was also a first-team All-American. So that's just a handful of guys that have been first-team. A couple of these third-team guys are really, the big names in Davis Wenzel, Shea Langoliers, Josh Turley, Trent Blank, Josh Ludy, Logan Vick from that 2012 team that was nuts. It's a high honor for Andy Thomas, Baylor catcher, to be named a third-team All-American. That's one of the hardest things to do in sports, but basketball especially, to me, it gets really, really tough to be an All-American.
That's got to help his draft stock, too, you would think. I don't know how he grades out, but I'm sure that doesn't hurt you. It ain't going to hurt you none, being All-American, but, happy for him, happy for that program, and I think that'll probably help with recruiting, too. You can say, hey, our guy here was just an All-American a year ago. You want to come here and play for Baylor, you can be recognized on a national level and be recognized as a guy who can be one of the best in America. And I think that's going to help Baylor's brand, because I feel like Baylor sometimes is fighting that as the private Baptist school in Texas against the UTs and Texas Techs. And the brand for Baylor is just different. So to have guys across all sports, whether it be Jared Butler and Davion Mitchell, going to be ideally first-round picks in the NBA draft, and now Andy Thomas being an All-American. The Baylor brand is continuing to grow nationally, which is a lot of fun to be a part of.
On top of that, track, the 9th through the 12th, June 9th through 12th, they are going to Eugene, Oregon to compete in the national championships. Baylor track team coach Todd Harburg. Todd Harburg is one of 3 coaches in Baylor track program history because they've all been here. Once you're a track coach at Baylor, you are a lifer. You have to be. He came after one of the greatest to ever do it in Clyde Hart, and now he's got another group of 20-plus athletes that are going up to Eugene.
You just stick around. You got 20 guys, or 20 guys and gals, I guess, 20 athletes. That is That sounds insane to me. 20 people for anything feels like a lot. I'm wondering how much, maybe, I know you're probably a little more privy in track. How much is he involved with like the programming of training? Because when I ran track in high school, it was, okay, your coach sets up your regimen, your training schedule, your race plan. Whereas at college, I would feel like there's a performance team involved there. No, like what's the track coach's duties? Because I know the people on Facebook in Arkansas came after me for this. So I'm going to go ahead and gingerly walk into this and lay that out there. Yeah,
the track game at the collegiate level is certainly real. I mean, the coaching staffs go a lot further and deeper than they do in high school. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot more. That's in any sport now in the collegiate game. And I've gotten to be around that personally a lot with different Baylor sports, the nutrition programs for these athletes, the workout programs for these athletes. Right. Everything they're going through day to day is for the betterment of themselves, their health, and how to be just the best athlete they can be, in the best shape they can be. So for me, I'm looking at this track team, and there are a lot of ins and outs that go into what Todd Harbour and his staff put together with his squad. Who runs what? Where can they run what? How far can we push somebody? There's a lot that goes into what it's not just like time you and then, all right, sweet, that's your time, let's rock and roll.
Sure.
I mean, the training regiments they're hardcore and they are hands-on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the coaching staff is small in comparison to the number of athletes, but you're pretty hands-on.
I was going to say one of the hardest things about just any sport, especially track, I would think, is being able to peak at the right time, right? Like you want to have your PR build until ideally now in Eugene. So that, I think, is the most like technical, scientific sport there probably is when it comes to being able to play your best, or I guess run your best, perform your best, jump your best, whatever it is on the race day that you need to perform your best.
Outside of track, you got D2 Baseball Championship. I wanted to get to this. Armstrong, there's a graphic on Twitter of the D2 Baseball Championship that is taking place. It's not that far up there. It was a good little ways. These teams include June 5th through 12th, so this thing's kicking off this weekend. Trevecca Nazarene is the 4 seed.
No way.
Yes.
No way, it's a real
this
place.
4 seed Trevecca Nazarene plays 5 seed Tampa in round 1. That's a big one. I know a lot of folks out there are excited to see it. Central Missouri has Northwest Nazarene. So just when you thought Trevecca Nazarene would be the only Nazarene in, Northwest Nazarene also in the D2 Baseball Championship. I know you were telling me you were really surprised by
Battle
that.
of the Nazarenes, man. I thought this tournament was only big enough for one Nazarene, but they said, nope, you get 2 Nazarenes in this tourney. Also, look how many teams there are. Like, juxtapose that with the Division I national tournament, and there's like, it looks like the smaller cousin.
Yeah,
of the
much smaller cousin.
Like, this is tiny. How many games are you playing? I'm like trying to work this out here. Is this 1 game elimination?
No, it's
just running the gauntlet.
2-game elimination. So it's double elimination. You've got Wingate and Angelo State round 1. Angelo State heavy favorites in those. And
actually?
then,
are you just saying that?
Yeah, actually Angelo State's
no way. Angelo State.
And then the one marquee matchup that I really wanted to get to. Equestrian powerhouse Seton Hill,
wow.
The 2 seed. The 2 seed in the D2 baseball tournament this season, playing Southern New Hampshire.
Not to be confused with Seton Hall.
You're right, it's Seton Hill.
Seton Hill.
There are a lot of people that I don't want to be, and Southern New Hampshire is on the top of that list right now.
Yeah, them and Seton Hill. Both of them. Yeah. I probably don't want to be anybody, honestly, that's playing in this tournament.
I don't want to be anybody.
No knock against D2 baseball, but I probably just don't want to go to one of these schools. Like, if we're being honest, that's probably just how I feel. And I think probably the majority of the room would agree with that sentiment. Whether they say it out loud or not, I mean, that's up for debate, but I think everyone can agree we probably don't want to be Seton Hill, Southern New Hampshire. What other teams are on this bracket? I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be in this.
Yeah, Jack, there's a good one. There's a good one for you, Jack, right there. Clip that. We're going to do some baseball breakdown across the country in the tournament bracket.
Let's do it.
So, yeah, basically, JD, summing up your D2 baseball analysis is... I don't want to play D2 baseball?
Don't know, don't care. Kind of is where I fall on that, unfortunately.
Wow. This guy...
I'm sorry for everybody that is a fan of D2 baseball.
Not a big D2 baseball guy. Coach Mike Krzyzewski announced yesterday he's retiring after 41 seasons. It'll be 42 seasons. He'll have, at Duke alone, he'll have, when he retires, close to 1,200 victories, less than 400 losses. The guy is a top 2 coach to do it all time, right there with John Wooden. 5 national championships, 12 ACC tournament championships, or 15 tournament, 12 regular season, 12 Final Fours. Nuts.
I mean, he's the archetype for what a successful college basketball coach is. You mentioned it. Him and John Wooden are like the gold standard among college hoops. And so for him to be stepping away after 42 seasons, That is such a long time to do any job, but to be a college basketball coach at
in the
Premier
same
University,
office.
Same office, no kidding. Okay.
Well, effectively.
I mean, that is unbelievable. So, I mean, longevity, I think, speaks volumes, and the fact that he had a lifetime contract and could walk away whenever he wanted to on his own terms. I mean, we just have to admire the greatness of Coach K for this last season because it's going to be a lot of fun. Similar to like Kobe's farewell tour, I feel like it'll have the same feel of, okay, Coach K's last game in Chapel Hill. Okay, Coach K's last game at Syracuse. Careful crossing streets in Syracuse. But, I mean, all those things, I think, add up to just making Coach K a legend and going to be fun that we could acknowledge this is his victory lap. It's going to be fun.
What do you think about the retirement tours these coaches and players go on?
Yeah.
Do you like retirement tours?
That's a great question. I think it really does depend on who it is. Like, when Paul Pierce did his retirement tour, it was like, okay, I didn't even know you were still playing. Like, I legitimately wasn't aware of this.
They don't love you like Kobe.
They don't love you like Kobe. Who was saying that to him? Was it Draymond?
Green.
That's so funny. Like, stuff like that. Like, Paul Pierce probably should have had his, retirement tour 3 or 4 seasons before that. Like, should have retired with Boston and all those things. But I'm a fan of them if they are worthy of a retirement tour. Like, I don't think guys like, I'm going to just name somebody random here, like Rajon Rondo probably doesn't need a retirement tour. And I'm just saying this because NBA is kind of where we've seen that more. But for Coach K, I'm all for it. Like, we want to revel in every single second we get of Coach K because when it's gone, you know?
Yeah. I think people are taking him for granted now because he's gotten old and he's kind of that cranky old man, which, I mean, when you're an old man, most people are cranky. So, that just kind of checks out. But we talked to Chris Button yesterday who said behind the scenes, Coach K is just a joy to be around and spectacular, gives his time to the media. We've got breaking news, too, out of the NCAA baseball, which we're going to get to here in a little bit. Kevin Kopps is the National Player of the Year, Baylor baseball reliever Kevin Kopps, whose ERA is like a .74. He's got over 100 strikeouts, and he's a reliever, closer. He's a closer, not just a reliever.
Player of the Year. No kidding.
10-0, and he's got 10 wins as a closer. Wow. Nuts numbers, man. He's a long reliever and a closer in the same vein.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's wild what he's done this season.
Wins.
With it, too, Jon Scheyer has been announced as the coach in waiting, the successor for Mike Krzyzewski. Jon Scheyer actually graduated college in 2010. So the guy's in his mid-30s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's never coached as a head coach in the college game.
I wonder how involved Coach K was in that.
Very.
You would think probably hand-selected him, right? They've probably been grooming him for a while. But that's surprising. Never been a head coach before. We use the analogy all the time of here's the keys to X car. He is giving the keys to a Ferrari, mint condition, custom leathered seats. Like, this is the nicest car this 30-year-old could be given. And this is exciting. Exciting for him, but I'm just going to trust Coach K knows what he's doing, but that's a little bit surprising that there wasn't more of a, selection process after the season.
Mid-30s guy. It sounds like they had a selection process that Scheyer was on the top of. He was the top one on the list. Mm-hmm. Played for Coach K from 2006 to 2010. Named a successor. Will spend as the coach in waiting this next year.
Interesting. Okay. Do you like that? Do you like having a coach in waiting?
So it says that Duke talked to outside candidates about replacing the now 74-year-old Krzyzewski, this per ESPN, including Harvard coach Tommy Amaker, who is a Duke guy.
Yeah.
Sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Scheyer was the lead recruiter of NBA star Jason Tatum in the class and the class of 2021 prospect Paolo Banchero, who's the number 3 overall guy in the country. Okay. He was Duke's choice to replace Coach Krzyzewski. He was the first guy. So there were a lot of names thrown out there. Jeff Capel was one of them, too, that I thought would be a guy they go after. Somebody mentioned Jay Bilas on the show yesterday, which I think was just a lot. But
that is a lot.
Yeah, there are pictures of Coach K and Jon Scheyer when Scheyer was a kid, where Coach K signed his stuff. The fact that you go with a head coach or a coach that has no head coaching experience to replace Coach K, I do think don't necessarily go in-house, but I think you go with a guy who's got head coaching experience.
And I appreciate the in-house nod because you're able to have the continuity of culture, right? Which with all winning programs, that's what's the most important, it feels like to me. Like at this point, you can go out and recruit great players, but if that brand's not there, if that culture's not there, that brand's not there. And Coach K has built a culture that is second to none in a lot of ways. So that says to me, going in-house, okay, we value this culture, we like this culture, we're going to keep this going. And the fact that he's 30-something means, okay, this is a long-term hire. Like Jon Scheyer should come in and probably be good right away, but they're going to give him a lot of time to be able to get to where Coach K was, which is obviously a ridiculous high bar to have set, but to be able to, get some success, they're going to give him a long time, which I think is also a positive thing.
Other boxes to check off across college sports. Virginia Tech Freshman linebacker E.C. Etute has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder.
Yeah.
There's been a murder.
Saw that, yeah.
He's being held without bond.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this, to be honest with you. I saw this and I was like, oh, wow, this is dark. I wonder if we would ever talk about this on the show. And I am right now finding out we're going to talk about this. Yeah, this is. I mean, stuff like this. Are we high-fiving? Stuff like this is so sad to talk about. Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, we forget that all these people that are playing college sports are just that. They're still people that have their own faults, own mistakes, own poor decisions that obviously have been made. So hope it's obviously not true. I hope that he's not the person responsible. I hope, that it's a lot less malicious than we're all finding out. But, where there's smoke, there's fire. And this is absolutely tragic for everyone involved in that community and that family.
Yeah, E2 was an early enrollee at Virginia Tech. He participated in spring practice in competition for a reserve role at linebacker. He was an outside linebacker for Virginia Beach, 29th ranked recruit in the state. Offers from NC State, Virginia, Vanderbilt, among others.
He's not convicted yet, is that right?
No, but it sounds like he killed a guy.
How long? Gosh. How long, if you're the AD, the head coach, do you wait until you dismiss?
You probably find out if he killed the guy, and then if he did, you might have to dismiss him. You probably dismiss him from the program at that point.
I mean, an arrest might be enough at this point to be like, hey, whether you did it or not, this is kind of a tough operation for us.
We got a couple other things here on the docket to check off.
How do we pivot from that? That's tough.
We pivot right to Steven from Virginia Beach
there you
mode.
Go, Steve. There you go,
Steven
Steve.
from Virginia at the beach. What's going on, Steven?
Hey guys, it's good to hear from y'all. I want to talk for a few minutes about Coach K and Don Shire and Duke, because that is kind of my country. We are over here in ACC basketball country. I am in Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, as we speak.
Can we get Steven from the beach on the graphic?
That's funny.
So I just want to let y'all know, I think John Shire is not really the candidate to replace Coach K, and I'm very skeptical of that. But UCLA struggled after John Wooden. Indiana struggled after Bobby Knight. It's only natural. It's a Baylor world now, baby, and we just living in it.
Yeah, I think it's a peculiar hire for me. I thought they would go with somebody with head coaching experience, and they just decided to not.
I probably would have felt the same way, especially since there are a number of Duke assistants that have become coaches at other places, but those guys aren't really that successful. So I guess I kind of see why they went out of the box for their hire.
Is there another coach on staff that you would have wanted at Duke? I don't pretend to be privy to the other Duke assistant coaches that would have been more fit for the role, but I think the biggest knock that we're seeing right now was never a head coach and is a young guy. And so that's probably a double-edged sword with, okay, well, he can learn and he's going to step into a place where he has no bad habits, and also he's going to be able to coach for a long time. But what say you? Is there someone else that you would have liked to see them go after?
I agree, my friend. I don't think there would have been another Duke assistant on that bench I would have wanted, which is, North Carolina had a couple of guys on the bench. So Hubert Davis was an outstanding candidate among men's candidates. I don't really know if there were a lot of outstanding candidates at Duke top.
Amaker was a shock for me when you said that he was in contention, because he loves Harvard and he's had a lot of success there. That would make sense, I guess, if he wanted to pivot to a bigger program. But, he's built the best program in the Ivy League year in and year out. So that would have been interesting to see him pivot. That kind of would have been a fun thing to see. But, yeah, I don't know who else would have been the guy, because Duke's just such a different job than anywhere else. The brand, the culture, there's so much about Duke that makes it like a destination job, but it's not a job that's been open for the last 40 years. I didn't even think it was true when similar to when Roy Williams stepped down. It was I didn't think this was going to be a thing we ever saw.
That was also because it was on April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
true.
The worst.
Poor timing.
Stephen Getty, a Bear Games question for you today. Today's comes from the old Twittersphere. Found this one on Twitter and loved it. If you could just offer a mulligan, if you could give your favorite team the chance to go back and replay one loss in its history, what loss would it be?
For Baylor, it's the West Virginia game in 2014.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that propels you to the playoff. Baylor goes to the playoff in the first ever playoff if they beat West Virginia, and they win an outright Big 12 championship.
I might go Oklahoma in 2019.
Big 12 championship? No.
Ooh, one of the two.
No, you got to go Big 12 championship.
28-3. You probably got a Big 12 championship.
Because
then you get in.
I agree.
Same thing.
Both of those Oklahoma games are good picks from 2019. Either one. that I was not a big fan of what happened on game day night. So those are also high on the list.
Yeah. Baylor is now on one of those ESPN graphics every year on that day. 5 years ago today, 28-3, college edition. That's bad.
Yeah, Marquise and I are Falcons fans, so we've borne just the worst defeat of, like, we have both sides of that, which is awful.
It's painful. It doesn't get any easier.
Probably the worst thing ever.
Yeah, except that one was a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing ever.
Might as well have been. Golly.
Hey, Steven, last question for you. You enjoying the beach before we get you out of here?
I'm definitely enjoying the beach because I'm going to go enjoy a few more beverages and a few more things that you have to set on fire. So I'll catch y'all later.
All right.
See you, Steve. Fireworks?
Yeah.
He's doing fireworks.
He's doing fireworks.
There you go. Fireworks down there on the beach.
How about what is yours? So if you could give your favorite team the chance to go back and replay one loss in its history, what would it be?
You made a great point a second ago. I was going to say Baylor 28-3 against Oklahoma or the Big 12 championship. But, dude, 28-3 in the Super Bowl? Being an Atlanta Falcons fan when that city has just known nothing but snake-bitten seasons year in and year out, like that was the 2 quarters where we're like, this is going to be it. Like, this is going to be so cool, a la the Philadelphia Eagles. Didn't happen. That was so sad. Like, that ripped my heart out.
Well, outside of Baylor, if it is Baylor, I think West Virginia 2014 is probably the way you go because I think Baylor has a much better shot to win a game in the playoff that year than they do in 2019 against LSU. Because if you sneak Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship, you play LSU round 1, that's just going to go south for anybody.
Sure.
So I like the 2014 pick. If I'm going outside of Baylor, I don't have a pro team. I tweeted it last night. Pro sports just aren't my forte.
Yeah, that's fine.
We host a college show.
Yeah, it's your demographic. I mean, Arkansas.
I love college shows.
That's fine. I love college too.
Sports.
Yeah.
I love college. It's a great song.
I love college.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Music Monday.
Yeah, Music Monday. Don't go listen to that, though, unless you're of age.
And your parents aren't home.
Yep. So for me, I'm looking at like Arkansas 2012. It's one of the craziest things I've seen in sports. It is LSU, Alabama, Arkansas are 1, 2, and 3 in the BCS poll, and 1, 2, and 3 in the SEC West. Like,
it was Ryan Mallett, right? Ryan Mallett
No. Tyler Wilson Jr. year. So it's the year after Mallett.
No way.
And in wild fashion, the top 3 teams in one conference's division are the top 3 teams in the country.
That's nuts.
LSU, Arkansas, last game of the season, 1-3 in Death Valley. Hogs take a fumble to the house. Next offense possession, score touchdown. It's 14-0 Razorbacks. If Arkansas wins, they don't. I don't think at that point they would have made the SEC championship. Alabama would have made it, but that would have put Alabama as a lock in the national title game. LSU out. Arkansas in.
Wow.
Hogs would have played Bama for a national title.
That would have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
That would have honestly been a better national title than what we saw that year. Wasn't it like a bunch of field goals and like a Trent Richardson touchdown?
It's like 21-0, but only 1 touchdown.
Yeah, it was the weirdest game ever. Golly, I don't remember that. Was that they call that the Magnolia Bowl? LSU in Arkansas, is that what it's called? Magnolia?
No, it's the Battle for the Boot.
Battle for the Boot.
Battle for the Boot.
What's the Magnolia Bowl? I'm looking
at it. Got another caller on here. Got G-Dub calling in. After G-Dub, we're going to get to a story about a bird. Along with
Ole Miss and LSU, my bad.
Along with the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss? Oh, Ole Miss LSU is the Magnolia.
Mississippi State
is and Ole Miss is Egg Bowl.
Yeah, there's so many bowls. How do you keep track of them, man?
Then we're going to we got another, there's a Twitter graphic on there. It's like top head coaches in Texas. I think the other guys referenced it yesterday.
Yeah, that was wild.
I saw that on Twitter yesterday and almost peed myself.
Yeah.
Got G-Dub. What's going on, G-Dub?
Not much, guys. Hey, Drake, just before I get to all my questions and stuff, shout out Matt Goodhart. From Arkansas.
Pride of Magnolia High School.
He played at San Jacinto when one of my good buddies was a freshman at the time, and they went to the JUCO World Series. So I just had to throw that in there. Shout out Matt Goodhart.
GW, here's a nugget of information for you. Matt Goodhart's senior season at Magnolia High School, he took his team 27-0 to the state championship game. They were top 20 in the nation. Max Prep's top 20 in the nation.
No kidding.
Matt Goodhart was their starting pitcher and a silver slugger for them, unbelievable slugger. All the way to the title, undefeated. Yeah. They played Valonia High School.
The Eagles.
Upset-minded Valonia High School out of nowhere in the state championship against Matt Goodhart. Score in the second inning was 7-0 Bologna.
Do we know anybody that went to Bologna High School? I don't know anybody.
Well, you want to know something crazier? Another nugget. Matt Goodhart's related to this. Goodhart starts on the mound that game. Bologna tears him just to bits. That was the second game I ever broadcasted in my life. Did play-by-play, state championship baseball game. Matt Goodhart.
Let's go.
From Baum Stadium in Fayetteville. Bologna, Magnolia.
Matt Goodhart.
8-1 final score. Bologna just beat the brakes off of Matt Goodhart and Magnolia in his last high school game. He would go on then to play at Baum Stadium more times later in his career and during college, and now is one of the better sluggers in college baseball aside from the slump he's been on. But yeah, G-Dub, thanks for shouting out Matt Goodhart.
Hey, and then here's my question: If y'all could have one person one Baylor athlete to study with, who would it be?
Ooh. Do you have an answer here?
Mine's easy because mine is like applicable and.
Oh yeah, you had class with a couple.
Yeah,
Baylor athletes.
I had classes with athletes. Mine's applicable, so I want you to give yours first.
I would say JT Woods, just because I talked to him very, very briefly when I was on the team, and he was like, "Yeah, I was getting recruited by Columbia and these other schools, and then Baylor came and called." So I was like, "All right." I'm like, "Well, Columbia was looking at you. You probably pretty smart." I think he's like straight A student.
Wow, JT Woods.
Yeah,
so I would look off his paper.
G-Dub,
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Jaden Owens because I had math class with Jaden Owens, and we did a lot of math homework together pretty frequently. So I'm going to go Jaden Owens. That's who I'm studying with.
I'll go with Davion Downey.
Oh, from the baseball team. Why is that?
I don't know. He just seems like a cool guy to be around.
Yeah,
heck yeah.
G-Dub, Bear Games question of the day from Kevin Flaherty. If you could give your favorite team the chance to go back and replay one loss in its history, what would it be?
For Baylor, it would probably be, for me, Baylor, it would be the 2015 Cotton Bowl. Bryce Petty throws for over 500, and we ended up losing by 1 point.
Yeah.
Dark. Very dark. Very, very dark.
Bad.
So I was on a cruise.
And then for the San Antonio Spurs, it'd have to be 2013 Game 6.
Stop. That's the worst. As a Spurs fan,
Allen from the corner. Bang!
Bosch with the rebound out to Allen for 3.
It was great.
My heart.
So I have a story about that Cotton Bowl loss really quick. I was on a cruise which didn't carry the Cotton Bowl for whatever reason. Like they carried the Rose Bowl, carried like the Outback Bowl, didn't have the Cotton Bowl. So I'm like trying to keep up with what's going on with this game with people on the boat who have like Wi-Fi and are checking the score. Anyway, day ends. I ask somebody, "Hey, did Baylor win?" He says, "Yes, it's awesome. I bet on them. They won." Sweet. So I go a full 24 hours before I get off the boat thinking Baylor won that game. Get off the boat and hear everything that happened and just am overcome with grief from the highest high to the lowest low. Like that was such a dark way to start the new year. That was tough.
That's insane. You thought they won.
I thought
that guy sucks.
So vividly. I think he thought they won too. I think he really thought they won.
Oh, that guy probably had a lot worse time than you did getting off the boat. G-Dub, thanks for your call, man.
Yes, sir.
See ya. All right, really quickly before we hit a break here, we're going to come back and do some analysis of the Baylor or the baseball field of 64. Dave Campbell's Texas football released their list of top head coaches in Texas this year. Top head coaches in Texas. They released it yesterday, I believe, is when or June 1st. Armstrong, do you have that graphic from the old Twitter sphere? 1 to 10, number 1 being Pete Friedenberg, who has been on the show before, as I understand.
There we go.
He's been on SicEm365 Radio before, as I understand. Right, Armstrong? Pete Friedenberg from UMHB. I mean, one of the all-time greats in the D3 level, perennial national champions. They're just always there. They're always there. Jimbo Fisher, who has done just a little bit more than nothing at Texas A&M.
You think so?
Yeah, just a little bit more than nothing.
Yeah, in the playoff conversation, they won. What was it? They won was the Orange Bowl last year. They won some New Year's Six game.
Yeah, one year he had him as a top. That last year he was a top 14.
Sure, he's building. I'm okay with him at 2. I don't hate it, but I'm okay with it.
Gary Patterson at 3. They vied for playoffs before. He's a long tenured guy. That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Casey Keeler, national champion at the FCS level. Great. I like that. Also, I feel like Pete Friedenberg, D3. Do you have him top number 1?
Yeah, I don't know.
Number 1?
I don't know about that.
Steve Sarkeesian at 5. He's never coached a game in Texas.
Yeah. This is tough. I'm wondering what the criteria was. Was it like body of work as a whole? Because if you want to talk about body of work as a whole outside of the state of Texas, Dave Aranda's got a nice little national championship ring.
Yeah, well,
not as a head coach, but I mean, if you want to talk about just coaches in general.
But neither does Steve Sarkeesian.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So I'm a little bit confused about the criteria. I'm assuming Shahan J. Raja had a pretty large hand in making this list, so I'm going to go ahead and defer to him because I think he's brilliant. But there's a lot about that list where I'm like, I don't know if I'd put him that high.
And well, then you get even worse. You get from Steve Sarkeesian at 5 to Jeff Traylor. Listen, I don't know what UTSA is paying Dave Campbell's Texas high school for Texas football, but it's a lot. They've got UTSA as the number 2 team in the state of Texas. Jeff Traylor, guess what Jeff Traylor's record is as a head coach in his career?
How many games?
Just guess.
I'm going to guess he is...
He's the number 6 best head coach in Texas history.
I'm going to guess he's
Texas right now.
Somewhere around 20 and 50.
Okay. He's 7-5.
Wow.
My man has coached 12 football games all time.
He's only been there one season?
And Texas, Dave Campbell's was like,
okay.
He's the number 6 best head coach in the state. How embarrassing is that for the state of Texas?
Let's look. So I have little to no familiarity with Jeff Traylor. I'm going to look him up and
Jeff
see
Traylor,
what else he's done.
UTSA
Has he done anything
head
else
coach.
besides?
He was at Arkansas as an assistant there for a little bit. SMU as an assistant. UT as an assistant. Gilmer High School. We've seen Gilmer play.
0-2 in bowls.
Yeah.
Big 12 Recruiter of the Year in 2016. Okay.
He's the best head coach, one of the top 10 head coaches in Texas.
Really?
Todd Whitten from Tarleton is on the list. Tarleton, pretty good. He's got 109 wins at Tarleton. David Bailiff is also on there. I find it very interesting that we're getting into. So David Bailiff, currently at Texas A&M Commerce, which, all right. He was at Rice for a little bit, Texas State for a little bit. Guess what his record is? 11-3.
No idea.
11-3. He went 11-3 last year at Texas A&M Commerce. And then Jesse Burleson is the last one on the list. Burleson's a pretty popular Baylor name, too. I don't wonder if there's any relation.
Yeah.
But Jesse Burleson, Hardin-Simmons head coach. Like, Dave Aranda's just not on there. I would put Matt Wells over Jeff Traylor.
Matt Wells is
Utah State. If you're looking at a full body of work,
sure. Yeah,
Jeff Traylor's 7-5.
Good point.
He's a number 6 best head coach in Texas.
Did they say what the criteria was for that list? Because that is a little bit confusing.
Does this make any sense whatsoever? Does it make any sense at all?
7-5 is tough because he was what on the list? Like 6?
Yeah.
7.
And he's coached 12 games as a head coach.
I don't know about that. It also says Big 12 Recruiter of the Year in 2016. He was at Texas in 2016, so I guess that makes sense. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of confused as to what the exact criteria was. Maybe there's potential there. Maybe that's like what they're thinking. Okay, they're gonna be good this upcoming season, but
I don't think.
Yeah, Sarkeesian hasn't coached a game in the state of Texas.
That's so bad.
That's interesting.
I don't get it.
That's interesting.
I don't get it. But we have talked about things they put out before. They're like, what is going on here?
Sure.
And then before we hit a break right here, and then come back with some college baseball. Story about a bird.
Story about a bird. I sent to Uptemp Bros the video of the end of this, or excuse me, the ending of this story. But so Drake and I go get Chili's.
Yeah, we got dinner last night.
Had a great meal. Great meal. Great service, as Chili's often produces. And so anyway, have the meal, talk a little bit in the booth, walk outside, and there was like a birthday party going on next to us.
Yeah, she was 16.
Or something. Turned 16.
Big balloons.
Okay.
Big 16 balloons.
That's observant of you. I didn't even know how old she was. Wasn't even sure whose birthday it was. Anyway, as we're leaving the parking lot, Drake and I both said goodbye. We're probably, like 20 yards away from each other?
Mind you, it was a heartfelt goodbye.
Heartfelt goodbye. Real heartfelt. Daps, the whole 9 yards. Like, hey, see you tomorrow. This was fun. Do it again. A bird comes in and, like, almost hits these people in the crowd. Like, comes in pretty low.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the bird came from.
Behind the Chili's, I guess. Maybe it was, maybe it escaped from, like, their wing factory behind the Chili's, and it was a runaway.
And then it was stalking the people.
And it was like, hey, you got after my family. Anyway, bird comes in super low enough to the point where it just keeps going past the family towards just no halt whatsoever. Runs head first into this red pickup truck. So, like, not like it was a dark colored pickup truck.
I thought it was a black pickup truck.
Was it black? Okay, if it's black, I have a little more sympathy for the bird.
It was a black pickup truck.
Was it a black pickup? Okay,
yeah.
If it's a black pickup, that makes more sense. Either way, bird goes full steam into a pickup truck.
Left lane hammer down.
And that in itself was like, wow, what a story. Like, that in itself was like, that's pretty bizarre.
I've never seen a bird hit a truck.
Gets more bizarre. Was it the birthday girl?
Birthday girl. Bird's just sitting there. Bird's just chilling.
Yeah.
Bird's like, I got to take a second to recap here because I just yammed a truck.
Just truck yammed. You go ahead and take it from here.
So guy yams a truck.
Yes.
Bird's like, I'm down and out. I'm going to take a sec. Everybody, hey, I'm just got to recollect. Birthday girl, 16, walks over, right hand, one hand, claw of God, grabs the bird on its back. And this is a feral bird that it lives in the wild and is outside of a Chili's. And she picks this sucker up. And, of course, everyone's screaming at that point except for the girl. And then walks it over to the family. And I'm going to let you take it from here because I left.
Well, she just kept walking around showing him the bird. And she said, I'm going to find Mom and show her the bird. I'm like, it flashed me back to that scene in Kicking and Screaming where he gives all the kids finches. He's like, I'm sorry, the finches probably aren't vaccinated. I might have just given your children diseases. So this is the video of this girl.
Oh, that's something.
Walking around, chasing people with the bird. She is so proud to have clawed this bird a la Vince Carter palming a basketball. She just, in the same way, palms this bird.
They just took a picture of her with the bird.
Dude, she was hyped. Like, that was the best birthday present she could have gotten, was the bird that was stunned from running into the pickup truck. Everyone is getting away from this bird that is obviously riddled with diseases. This was just one of the most phenomenal things I've ever seen in Waco, Texas, let alone happen at a Chili's. Like, you stick around at Chili's past 6 p.m.
Crazy things going to happen.
Probably see some cool things.
Crazy things going to happen.
Crazy things going to happen.
All right, we come back. We're talking baseball. Recapping the field of 64. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? Where are the upsets? What are the... Oh, here we go. So that's her right there, I guess. You'll see a flash here in a second. She's got... That in her hand is a blackbird. A raven, maybe. Now she's holding it near her face for the pictures.
Like it's a puppet.
She's
so happy to have that bird. Like, that was the greatest thing that could have happened on her birthday was, heck yes. And she's chasing, homegirl right there doesn't want any part of it.
She said, get out of here. I don't want that bird. What was that? You did a little fist bump?
I'm trying to be sly and, like, not make it obvious I'm just recording this girl. But, yeah, what a night, man.
Wow. Oh, what a night.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's September. Drake Toll, J.D. PicKell. Jack McKenzie, Armstrong, Sims, Marquise Cooley, and Andrew Robertson. When we come back, it is baseball time. This is Up Tempo.
After decades of success and innovation in the collegiate game, a legend is hanging up the whistle. Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke announced yesterday that he will retire at the conclusion of next year's season. Coach K is the winningest coach in Division I history, with nearly 1,200 wins compared to 300 losses as a head coach at Army and Duke. He has amassed 12 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 regular season titles, and 5 national titles. He also led the United States men's basketball teams to gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016. He'll turn 75 next February. Coach K's successor has been announced as associate head coach John Shire, who played for Krzyzewski from 2006 to 2010. He will take over the position in 2022. Shire has no other head coaching experience. Elsewhere in basketball, Baylor has set a date with preseason top 5 juggernaut Villanova, as Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright will come to Waco for the Big 12 Big East Challenge on Sunday, December 12th. It's the nightcap of the evening. The rematch between Sweet 16 foes is expected to be a top 10 matchup coming to the Farrell Center. South Carolina's guard Seventh Woods is transferring from Frank Martin's program to play his 6th season elsewhere. He started in 13 games last season and was formerly a key backup on the 2017 North Carolina championship team. And former Michigan coach John Beilein has picked up another gig after a short stint with the Cavaliers, as the Pistons have hired him as a senior advisor for player development. And in football, LSU announced yesterday that offensive line coach James Craig is out. No reason was given for his departure. He joined the staff in 2018 with 20 years of experience. And Virginia Tech freshman linebacker E.C. Etude has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder to a killing that took place Tuesday. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Hey, we're qualified buyer with $4,000 down at 2.9%. TTNL extra. See deal for detail.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury of a Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott at edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now, back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's like a spiritual experience.
It reminds me of the More Cowbell skit. We need more table bell.
We need more table.
More table bell. Play the heck out of that thing.
Wow.
That's what it feels like.
Jeez, that's too good. What an up tempo.
I love it.
Today's show, we got a loaded show today too. I'm excited about what we got going on with 12 o'clock, 12:05. Ashley Hodge joins us of SicEm365 talk about a new documentary.
There it is.
Hey, documentary's coming up.
I hardly know her.
Nope. Not how that joke works. Not this time. You got NCAA tournament analysis coming up now. Documentary at 12. Jeff Williams at 12:30. We got a loaded guest list today, man.
I'm excited for Umlang, man. Oh, okay. I stole your thunder. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to do that.
Great.
I wasn't trying to do that.
Now everybody knows. It was a big secret. I was going to break it. Now everybody knows.
I wasn't trying to do that.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for what I've done.
Yeah, you know what you deserve?
Spankings?
Nope.
That's what I used to always get those when I was a kid.
That's
been the right answer to that question.
You deserve to play D2 baseball. Yep.
Okay, that is cruel and unusual.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish that upon a lot of people.
Oh, that is you. That's what you get.
I would go yard 2 in D2 baseball. I would dominate.
You think
D2
so?
baseball.
You beat Tebow? You beat Tebow in D2 baseball?
Probably not. I probably couldn't touch whatever they're throwing.
You got 12:30 Jeff Williams, the voice of TCU, joins the show.
There we go.
1 o'clock, Kyle Umlang, expert UT analyst. Kyle has the best Twitter page that exists in the history of America. And then 1:30 Jeff Haxton, the voice of Texas Tech baseball, joins. We got a couple of voices of baseball teams, a UT analyst to talk about their regionals coming up this weekend. A lot of baseball talk today. Then Ashley Hodge, 12:05, talking a little bit of documentary action, doc action. This week, pulled up right now, D1 Baseball Championship official bracket. I don't know if you have this. I want to get some, so the field of 16 to me, folks have talked about this, and I agree pretty much with the assessment that Tennessee snubbed a little bit with the field that they ended up being pinned with in their home regional. I think if there's a 4 seed that's going to go and make some noise in the tournament, typically they're going to be in one of those smaller regionals. Typically they're going to be like in a 12 to 16 area, and they go upset somebody in a super regional that was a 4 seed that got upset already, so they're playing somebody that wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
However, Wright State's got a shot to go out number 3 Tennessee, and I think it's going to be that's a tough battle for Tennessee. They got pinned with Wright State. Duke is okay, but Duke is the hottest team maybe in the country right now. They're playing really, really well. Liberty also should have won the A-Sun Conference. They didn't, making them a really dangerous at-large. Tennessee, yes, the brands, the names aren't maybe there like they usually, you look at those and you're like Wright State and Liberty and Duke, but those are 3 really solid teams.
And Wright State took 2 or 3 from Tennessee last season, so they're familiar with each other. They have some history, so it's going to be interesting. Do you like Wright State enough to pick them? I personally don't. I like Tennessee to win that. I don't know what you call that group of 4, but do you like Wright State enough to pick them to maybe win that whole deal?
So my analysis of college baseball is that if you're hosting a regional for the first time in history, if you're hosting a regional for the first time ever, you're not going to do as well. It is a shell shock, a culture shock when your guys are hosting a regional. Tennessee and Coach Tony Vitello have not been there yet. They play very emotional baseball, kind of hard in your sleeve baseball. I don't know if I like Tennessee I'll tell you this. I think Tennessee does not make it out of the Knoxville regional. I don't know who it is out of Wright State, Liberty, Duke. If I've got to pick a team right now, I'm going to go crazy here and say it's Liberty and Duke that end up playing for the regional championship there. Okay. And give me Liberty moving on a 3 seed into the Super Regional.
And break this down for me one more time. So those teams, Tennessee's going to play Wright State in a best of 3?
So Tennessee will play Wright State. It's a double elimination. Tennessee, Wright State, 4-team double elimination bracket.
Okay.
And so you drop down Tennessee, Wright State, Duke, Liberty. Losers drop down to play each other in an elimination game. There's the championship of the winner's bracket.
Okay.
Those guys play. The loser of that one plays the winner of the loser's bracket game. The winner of that one goes to the regional championship. The winner of this one goes to the regional championship.
Interesting, okay.
And then if, say, Wright State loses to Tennessee, they win through the loser's bracket. It's Wright State, Tennessee in the regional championship. Tennessee hasn't lost yet. So Wright State has to beat Tennessee twice.
Interesting. There are so many moving pieces to this.
Lots of moving pieces.
This is so confusing.
Yeah.
I only caught the first part of what you said, but I think I understand enough to where I'm like, okay, I can participate here. But yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces. But I think Tennessee, what you said about them playing emotional baseball is interesting because that can be a double-edged sword, especially in tournament time. Like I feel like the March Madness teams that play really well, I'm kind of paralleling here with basketball, so maybe not the most clear parallel, but when it comes to tournament time, if you can have that emotion, on your side in terms of having positive emotion, like that can carry you for a game or two, especially in games where there's a more quick momentum. So with baseball, I don't know how that'll work, but I would venture to say if Tennessee can get out early and have that emotion on the positive side of things, that could be really special for them.
Could be, but I just think playing with emotion, your heart on your sleeve in sports can hurt people a lot of the time. I guess in the tournament, it can get you to a couple of wins.
Sure.
But doing it throughout the entire thing, if you're not just that stable, fundamental team, that could bite you in the end. Another regional I think is really, really tough. I'm looking at South Bend with Notre Dame, Central Michigan, UConn, and Michigan. I really, really like UConn to fare well in this. Michigan's not that good at baseball. I think UConn beats Michigan in the first round, and I like UConn over Notre Dame, actually. Notre Dame hasn't impressed me that much. The ACC was not very strong this past season. I like UConn. I think that they're just scrappy, man. I like UConn to come out of the South Bend Regional.
Interesting. Even though Notre Dame's hosting.
Even though Notre Dame's hosting.
Really?
Again, it's a rare host. Notre Dame doesn't host in baseball very often. So, again, these teams that don't host very often don't usually fare that well. South Bend Regional, Notre Dame, Central Michigan, UConn, Michigan. I got UConn coming out of that one.
Interesting. So, I'm just breaking down the numbers here. Michigan, I think, is a fraud. I'm with you there. I think Notre Dame being able to host is kind of a big deal. I know it's the fact that it's their first time, but even though it's their first time, that in itself could be an advantage, right? Like, okay, the pressure's on right now. Like, depends on, I guess, the DNA of your team and if those guys like that kind of pressure. So, can fold you, can make you play up. But I think Notre Dame, the fact that they're able to kind of have that excitement and that buzz, that could also be the benefit there. So, double-edged sword, but I think that I like Notre Dame enough to get out of that region.
Starkville, if I'm looking at regionals that are easy peasy lemon squeezy, give me the Starkville Regional.
Bars.
Samford, Mississippi State, VCU, who's won like 21 straight games, but it's VCU, and Campbell. Literally, Samford, VCU, and Campbell.
There we go.
Are the three teams that they sent to play at Starkville, Mississippi State. There are no teams that, like, VCU Campbell is a first-round matchup, which, one, that's absurd. Two, it's in Starkville, Mississippi. You know how many people are going to be at the VCU Campbell game in the middle of Mississippi?
No.
Sub-zero.
Really?
There will be negative amounts of people there.
Negative people.
There will be dead bodies in the stands before there are live bodies to watch that game. That's dark, but yes.
I mean, VCU's made some noise. I'm looking here. They went 3-1 against ACC teams. Again, though, I mean, I don't think there's a team in this bracket that are top 50 according to Boyd's World ISR. Whatever that means. That sounds like it's important and sounds like we should reference that. Don't know what it means, but I'm going to go ahead and reference it here because it sounds like it has something to do with how good these teams are. None of them are in the top 50 outside of Mississippi State, so I think that one is pretty cut and dry. VCU may be a team to keep an eye on since they've played competitive teams. They've played teams in the ACC, I should say, which isn't necessarily a great RPI, but still a team that, I mean, they've played big brands before. So maybe VCU's a team that potentially steals a game or two, but I'm with you. I think Mississippi State probably gets out of that region without too much action.
Some of these regional previews, bracket challenges that are breaking these things down, D1 Baseball give you a good, so like D1Baseball.com has a bracket challenge grand prize. You can fill out a bracket, create your own bracket. So like I mentioned there, you've got a regional in Starkville. It's really easy. I look across the way at a couple other of these that I'm looking at. Austin, if I'm going to my second easiest regional. I think Texas. They got Southern in round one. Southern's scrappy, but they're Southern. Texas is going to blow the brakes off of them. Arizona State was not great in a very depleted Pac-12 conference this past season. Arizona State, RPI-wise, they're okay. With Arizona State, they wouldn't scare me at all if I'm Texas. Yes, it's a name brand. Yes, it's a top... one of the top Power 5 teams, but they're RPI 40, 7-11 in Quad 1 wins this season. They're 12-4 in Quad 4, 4 Quad 4 losses. Then you got Fairfield. Fairfield's RPI top 5, but also they're Fairfield, and they did not play a single Quad 1 game all year long.
I like Fairfield. I'm not going to pick them, but I like the fact that they're in this tournament and they're they're at large, aren't they?
Yeah.
At large bid. Arizona State got swept at home in their last series of the season, had a 5.25 ERA in Pac-12 games. Come on, son. Texas, easy.
Why did they make it in over Baylor?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know. 5.25 ERA in just Pac-12 games. Is Pac-12 baseball that good?
Little to no sense. They give me no sense. Also, the College World Series is going on today in softball.
How about Columbia? You got that one circled?
So the Columbia Regional's interesting because it's at South Carolina, but also South Carolina's not the technical host.
Yeah, Old Dominion's.
Old Dominion's the host.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. So I think South Carolina is going to bode well. Virginia barely snuck in. South Carolina, that is one of the more interesting for me. I think Old Dominion, are they a fraud? No. Conference USA was really good this past season. I like Old Dominion to play well there, but it's at South Carolina. Tough place to play. Perennial powerhouse. Virginia is always really good too. I think that one's going to be a really kind of a toss-up, flip a coin, but I think South Carolina probably walks away in that one.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Old Dominion's the host and not at home is really kind of confusing and puzzling. Old Dominion led the country 101 home runs.
Yeah.
That is a whole lot of home runs. And not, like you said, not to say anything against the Conference USA competitive level, but I don't think it's the SEC. No. So South Carolina probably takes care of business there, but interesting to see that Old Dominion's the host and they're not even playing at home.
NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technical.
Really?
Something. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They play in Fayetteville, Arkansas for round 1.
Oof.
Fans started lining up at the game 72 hours before it started. NJIT's last home game housed 77 people. Attendance was 77 for their last game.
Here we go.
Armstrong, you went to Highland Park, right? How many people came to the baseball games at Highland Park?
I don't know, 150, 200?
Wow.
Or probably more.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. Did more than 77 people come to the Highland Park baseball games?
Probably every game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even the sucky games.
How about JV games? JV games still a good turnout?
Yeah.
Probably. Better than 77.
Yeah, I bet.
Better than 77.
People just like watching baseball.
That's rough.
Apparently in New Jersey, they do not. 77 games. Fayetteville, right now, ticket sales in the range of 13,000.
Wow. Holy cow.
They're going to go from their last regular season game, playing in front of 77 people, to 13,000 in the nation's top-rated ballpark.
Put NJIT in the D2 tournament and let them just run things. Let them just run things down there.
That crowd would probably scare them, too.
Yeah. Wow. You think it'd be a big crowd down there?
Yeah. Also,
They'll
McLennan
draw some people.
McLennan Community College is right on the cusp of a championship right now. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
Yeah, McLennan is like in the last 3 playing.
Okay.
So NJIT, Nebraska, and Northeastern, Nebraska probably had 12 people at their games too because it's a Big Ten.
Sure.
Northeastern kind of the same. So Arkansas, Fayetteville. Nebraska won the Big Ten, so them going to Fayetteville is interesting for me. I like Arkansas in that one. The Ruston region, La Tech is so good in Ruston. I love La Tech in Ruston. Alabama's going to give a couple teams a run for their money at least. They beat Tennessee in the SEC tournament. I'm looking at the Stanford region. I think is pretty easy for Stanford to walk through to get to Lubbock. I love that. I think Texas Tech has a very interesting regional with UCLA and Army. I like Army too. I hate North Carolina. North Carolina's a fraud. But Tech, being at home, Lubbock's so tough to play. I like them too, playing Stanford and Super Regional. I think Tucson favors Oklahoma State right now just because they're playing really good baseball. Oxford, not worried about the Oxford Regional for Ole Miss. Again, they're at home. Southern Miss is scrappy. Southeast Missouri, I think, gives Ole Miss a run for their money. I actually like, if there's one, if I have top 3 chances for an upset in round 1, it's Southeast Missouri to beat Ole Miss.
Interesting.
Southeast Missouri had Arkansas on the ropes late in the series they played against them earlier this year. So I like that one. I think
Southern Miss too is pretty good.
Yeah, Southern Miss is solid.
I'm looking here at their pitching staff, 3 starters with a sub-3 ERA.
Yeah.
You could do some damage here. I mean, it's hard to win if you can't touch what they're throwing.
And then
sounds obvious, but
the Greenville Regional, East Carolina, Charlotte, Maryland. East Carolina and Charlotte are probably one of those two come out of there with the win. Why is Maryland in the tournament and Baylor's not? No sense. Nashville, you got Georgia Tech, Presbyterian, Indiana State. There are some places. This should go chalk in quite a few regionals, but there are a handful, maybe 3 or 4 that I look at and think, all right, it's anybody's game here. TCU could be interesting with Oregon State coming to town. Some of these places are just like Oregon could be a toss-up because Oregon's not the toughest place to play, but then you go to a TCU, Fort Worth's really tough place to play. So is Starkville. Gainesville can play tough. Like South Bend's not tough. Ruston is tough. So I think a lot of this plays into where these games are hosted to.
Excluding Arkansas, who are you rooting for in this tournament?
If I had to pick a team now that Baylor's out and I want to root for somebody, I really want Texas Tech to go far in this.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I love Jeff Haxton, who we have on the show before, and that's probably like I'm making it personal, but give me Jeff Haxton.
We're gonna be a Red Raider show. We're gonna be a Red Raider show for however many minutes when we talk about college baseball.
Be a Texas Tech show.
I'm all for it.
All right, gonna do Dead or Alive today. We're gonna flip Tuesday to today. We have the music. We have music for Dead or Alive today.
Heck yes. Dude, we're on a pretty good streak here with Dead or Alive.
Yeah, nobody's died in a while.
Yeah,
nobody's died in a while.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive number 1. Nabokov, Vladimir Nabokov, Russian-born writer, author of Lolita, known as an expert of butterflies.
Alive.
Dead. Vladimir Nabokov, dead. Would have been 122 today.
Wow.
Yeah, that's tough.
Celebrity birthdays.
Fatos Nano, Prime Minister of Albania on multiple occasions.
Wow. So several terms.
Several times has he been the Prime Minister of Albania.
Give me Fatos. Alive. Me and Marquise
Fatos
riding
Nano. Alive.
There we go.
68 years
There
old.
you go.
Maybe he'll be the Prime Minister of Albania again one of these days.
maybe.
Maybe he'll make it take back. How about R.K. Narayan, Indian author known for his novels set in fictional town of Malgudi. Books include The Guide and The Malgudi Days.
Malgudi is actually pretty good. We're making a movie on that. It's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Gosh. I'll say alive.
Okay.
I'm going to go alive.
He's dead. Would have been 115 if he was alive today. That would be nuts.
I'm stoked for that movie, though.
That's going to be good. Malgudi Day is coming out. It's August 17th.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It's going to be good, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Malgudi Days.
IMAX, 3D.
We've got Russ Tamblyn, played Gideon Pontypridd in the movie Seven Bridges for Seven Brothers.
7 bridges for 7 brothers. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
7 brides for 7 brothers? Are you?
I actually like the
He's
concept.
also the star of West Side Story.
No, I like the concept of 7 bridges for 7 brothers a lot better.
Everybody just takes their own.
My God.
My
alive.
eldest son, I bestow upon you the golden
7
gate.
bridges.
Thank you, Father.
Probably misread Malgudi Days, too.
Should be said, Malgudi Days is actually also a TV series.
Wow.
In reality.
Russ Tamblyn, dead or alive?
Dead.
Alive.
Oh, I think he's alive.
Dead.
86 and alive.
There we go.
Frank Tarkenton, Hall of Fame quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Later, he was the co-host of the TV show That's Incredible.
I think that's going to be.
7 bridges.
I think that's Fran Tarkenton.
Or 7 brothers.
Fran Tarkenton, actually.
Fran, it is Fran
I think
Tarkenton.
I think Fran's dead, actually.
Really?
One of the best mobile quarterbacks of all time. But I think he's dead.
I'm going to go with dead.
Alive.
81 years young and alive.
There we go. Okay.
Fran is alive.
There you go, Fran.
And last one today, Renee Taylor. She plays Sylvia Fine in the TV series The Nanny and has appeared in The Producers and other movies.
Ooh.
Renee
I have
Taylor.
No idea. I've never heard of this person. Do y'all know Renee Taylor?
I've seen episodes of The Nanny. When you're up early, it used to come on Nickelodeon.
Oh, okay.
Late
I
at
think
night.
she's dead. I thought I saw on social media. I could be walking myself into a corner here, but I thought I remember her being dead.
I want to say that she was too, so I'm going to go with dead.
Armstrong?
Alive.
2 in a row. Renee Taylor alive. And if she
There we
dies
go.
soon, that's on you.
There we go,
I'm
Renee
Drake
Taylor.
Toll. It's J.D. PicKell, Armstrong Sims, Marquise Cooley, Jack McKenzie, and Andrew Robertson. When we come back, Ashley Hodge joins the show because there's a documentary. There's been a documentary.
Some doction.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it with Ashley Hodge about how they're going to document all of the documentary stuff for the Baylor Basketball National Championship. After Ashley Hodge will be joined today by Jeff Williams, the voice of TCU, Kyle Umlang, Texas analyst, and Jeff Haxton. A couple of Jeffs going on today.
Boom.
It's a Jeff show. It's
Big
a
old day.
Jeff show today. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Ashley Hodge joins us to talk a little bit of Baylor basketball action. This is Up Tempo.
Love it.
What was
Decades
it?
of
What was
success
it?
and innovation in the collegiate game, a legend is hanging up the whistle. Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke announced yesterday that he will retire at the conclusion of next year's season. Coach K is the winningest coach in Division I history, with nearly 1,200 wins compared to 300 losses as a head coach at Army and Duke. He has amassed 12 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 regular season titles, and 5 national titles. He also led the United States men's basketball teams to gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016. He'll turn 75 next February. Coach K's successor has been announced as associate head coach John Shire, who played for Krzyzewski from 2006 to 2010. He will take over the position in 2022. Shire has no other head coaching experience. Elsewhere in basketball, Baylor has set a date with preseason top 5 juggernaut Villanova, as Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright will come to Waco for the Big 12 Big East Challenge on Sunday, December 12th. It's the nightcap of the evening. The rematch between Sweet 16 foes is expected to be a top 10 matchup coming to the Farrellton. South Carolina's guard 7th Woods is transferring from Frank Martin's program to play his 6th season elsewhere. He started in 13 games last season and was formerly a key backup on the 2017 North Carolina championship team. And former Michigan coach John Beilein has picked up another gig after a short stint with the Cavaliers, as the Pistons have hired him as a senior advisor for player development. And in football, LSU announced yesterday that offensive line coach James Craig is out. No reason was given for his departure. He joined the staff in 2018 with 20 years of experience. And Virginia Tech freshman linebacker E.C. Toot has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder to a killing that took place Tuesday. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia! Jesus died for our Cynthias!
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts! Julia Rob!
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
King.
And welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Couple of technical difficulties there. We got the up-tempo lounge mode in action today for the first time ever. Joined now by Ashley Hodge of SicEm365 to talk Baylor basketball and a new documentary that's coming out surfacing around Baylor basketball in the national championship run. Ashley, long time no see. Good to have you on today.
It's good to be on. Thanks for having me.
As always, and Ashley, I know there's a lot going on for you guys right now as the ownership party of SicEm365, especially centered around this documentary. And I want to know, when it comes to what's being put together, just how monumental is this for you guys to have a documentary just, I don't know, at 5 or 6 years in the works of having SicEm365 up and running?
Well, I mean, the key is we've got the right partner. Chris Charles Scott is awesome, and he's a great storyteller. Obviously, he's got a lot of successful documentaries in the past. So I think he's going to do a tremendous job of telling this story and giving it the justice and the due that it deserves. But we're super fired up, man. I've followed Baylor basketball as close as anyone over the last 20 years, and I'm just excited to have this story be told and to told well. I think Baylor's excited about it, and I think we're going to put together a really great product. We've already got a lot of interviews lined up, and almost everyone we've talked to is just super fired up to do it. So I think it's going to be terrific and things that, something that Baylor fans can be really proud of when we get to the end result.
Ashley, I don't want you to give away too much here when it comes to the actual documentary, but just to give folks a look inside and a hint into what the next week or two will look like interview-wise, I mean, who are some of the cast of characters they can expect to see?
I think you're going to have a great combination of former players going all the way back to the late 60s, early 70s. You're going to have people like Pat Nunley is going to be an instrumental voice in telling the story of Baylor basketball from the past to the future. Jason King, obviously, is going to be a big part of it. David Smoak and myself and fans like Chris Fuentes, Sarah Rogers. And we're also going to have just a lot of, players and, from the Tweety Carters to Epi Udos to the, players on the current team and the ones that were responsible for this last championship. I mean, I think it's going to be just a celebration of this monumental accomplishment. And, of course, Scott Drew is going to be a big part of it as well, and some of the coaching staff. So I think, from the interviews that we're going to have, we'll probably do, hundreds of hours of footage and try to cut it down into, 90 minutes of documentary at the end. And, it's going to be a tremendous project and labor to get there, but we've got the right team to do it, and we're super excited about it.
Ashley, along with it, when you think about this all coming together and the timetable of what the plan is, can folks expect to see this by the time this next basketball season is wrapping up and maybe Baylor's on the cusp of another NCAA tournament run?
Great question, and that's our goal. Our goal is to have this ready to go by September. And I think, a lot of us have cleared big chunks of our schedule to make sure that gets done. We're obviously going to have cooperation in some areas, but the team is very organized and starts filming next week. And hopefully we will have a finished product by the end of September or by the end of August, early September.
You talked about some documentary help that you guys are getting in this, and someone with a lot of experience too, in Chris Charles Scott III, what he brings to the table. Class Action Park, already a really good, just a well-renowned documentary, and now moving into what he's going to do with SicEm365 and this Baylor documentary. First and foremost, how big is it to have him a part of this project? And secondly, his connection to Baylor, how well does that play into this?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, he's a Baylor alum. He was there during the Dennehy tragedy, so he understands how incredible this story is from when Scott Drew took over the program to what they accomplished this past year. And, I think he's a guy that really wants to see this story told well and told right and not running from any of the dark issues in the past. But he also, he's a Baylor guy, so he wants Baylor's best foot forward, as we all do. And so I think we're all on the same page as far as that's concerned, and we're just excited to get to work.
Ashley, as far as where folks will be able to view this, I'm sure it'll be available DVD-wise, but streaming has become so popular. Are there talks already on having this on certain streaming services for people to be able to watch?
Yeah, we're pretty excited about the initial reaction from some of the streaming companies. We're a long ways away from that, but I would say it's probably going to be more like a streaming platform. Think of maybe a 30 for 30 or a HBO or a Netflix or Amazon Prime type of situation is who we hope to sell it to. And, Chris has the connections there. And I think that, we're going to, be in a good spot. But first steps, we got to do the interviews. We got to put together a sizzle reel, they call it. And then, the film festivals, we would have a finished product to take to the film festivals. But it's always possible that we sell it before then as well. We're into some preliminary talks with a few outlets on as far as that's concerned as well.
Ashley, for you, Colt, Brian, the leadership at SicEm365, how much really of this have you guys had to play into when it comes to paving the way for this documentary to happen? Take us through a look into what this has been like for you.
Yeah, I think the idea was circulating in our heads as we were making the title run. And then as soon as we won the championship, we were like, we got to do this. And then, I think God opened the door to a conversation with Chris. I met Chris in Indianapolis, and, then Colt talked to Chris on the phone, and then we're like, hey, we got to partner on this. And, and then I think we just said, let's try to raise the money. And, these things are expensive. It's going to cost, close to our full budget just to get this first round of filming, editing, and so forth in place. But we were hoping to crowdsource as much as possible. And then, the SicEm365 business is going to invest heavily as well. And so we're putting our own money at stake. We want our skin in the game. And we just really want to get, a great finished product. As Baylor fans, we feel like this story deserves to be told, and it deserves to be told by the people that, are most emotionally invested in it and passionate about it. And so I think, that's really how it came to fruition. And, I think we're going to make sure that we, put a lot of time and effort into telling the story well.
Ashley, you talked about this coming together, how there are a lot of funds that go into making this click. How much support have you guys gotten from Baylor fans, SicEm365 members, and those that just want to see Baylor celebrated in this way?
Yeah, it's been overwhelming. I think we've already raised over $85,000. We were hoping to get to 100 or, something over that would be great. As much as we can raise, through crowdsourcing and through the Baylor community, and then, come in at the end and contribute our own funds to make up the difference. The smaller that margin, the better. But we just hope to, get a budget that does it justice. We are not looking to be the biggest, budget documentary in the history of mankind, but we're also not looking to do this on the cheap. We want it to be done well, and, the proper amount of time put into editing that needs to be done. And we also know that, where it gets expensive is you got to start, putting money into footage. NCAA footage is expensive. And so those are the things that can really, put this documentary on the next level. We want to make sure we have plenty of money to do that.
Well, Ashley, we've had you on maybe a time or two since Baylor won the national championship, and I ask you this every time, and the answer is always different. You're now a couple of months, 3 months or so removed from that championship game. Putting it in perspective, thinking about just everything that entailed for Baylor University, Baylor basketball, Baylor athletics, what is that ride like now 3 months post?
Yeah, it still feels like something that you can celebrate every day. I have a group of guys I play pickup basketball with a few times a week, and we even had some discussion about that on the court today. I try to be a humble fan as much as possible, but every once in a while you got to get your digs in and make sure the other guys know who won the national championship last year. But in all seriousness, I've watched the entire tournament, probably 3 times through. From start to finish, starting with the Hartford game and then going all the way, and it's pretty special every time I watch it and I see new things. So I'm sure I'm going to be watching it multiple times during the summer as sports are slower. But I'm also a guy that turns the page and looks forward to the next year, and I'm very excited about this upcoming team as well.
Well, there you go, Ashley. Turning the page and looking forward to next year is the season where Baylor won't have Jared Butler. That was expected, but he waited all the way to the last minute to announce that he would be declaring for the NBA draft. I mean, how atypical is that for a player of Jared's caliber to wait up until really the deadline?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think we all expected he was going to declare for the draft and hopefully gets through the NBA combine with flying colors. And, that's the natural evolution that you want to see for great players that accomplish incredible things and are ready to play in the NBA. And he certainly is. And so, Davion Mitchell as well. So we think those four guys have bright professional careers, Maceo Teague and Mark Vital. And I'm sure Baylor fans are going to be cheering them on and be invested in whatever teams they end up with. But we've got a great team coming back and some incredible pieces coming into this new team. And so it's time to turn the page and celebrate the guys that we had, but also look forward to a bright future.
Ashley, in what you've seen comparing the ceiling and the floor for Jared Butler going into the NBA draft, what's maybe the best we can expect from him as draft day approaches, and how far could he fall if those combines don't maybe go as planned?
Oh, I don't know about how far he can fall, but I think his ceiling is incredibly high. I mean, he's a guy that can score, and he can score against great competition. He plays the best in best moments. I think one of his top skills is his competitiveness. He's an incredibly competitive guy that just wants to win, and he plays well when the pressure's on. He's become a great defender. He's a great teammate. He's a great locker room guy. I mean, I know there's going to be players that I'm going to be shaking my head. They're going to be picked in front of him based on upside. But, man, there's something to be said for guys that just know how to win and guys who know how to put the ball in the basket, and he can do those things. And I think he's going to have a long NBA career and have a very successful, he's starting as a rookie. I think he's ready to go.
Ashley, along with that, with Jared Butler leaving, declaring for the NBA draft, do you know if he has signed an agent? Where is he as far as eligibility and coming back, if that's an option later on down the road?
I don't know the details of that. I mean, I think that there was some talk, and this could have changed in the last few days, but I think there was some talk that he was going to choose an agent and then just not sign until he got through the NBA combine and through the medicals there. And, just leave the door open if need be to come back, if that was a situation that presented a roadblock. But I think we all hope and pray that he gets through that and gets through it with flying colors, because he deserves it. And I know his dream is to play in the NBA. He's ready to play in the NBA. And that's just what we hope for. And I think all Baylor fans are like-minded in that regard. So let's hope for the best.
With Matthew Meyer, Ashley, I know we've asked you this before, but he still needs 1 year in the collegiate game, correct?
I think so. I'm a huge Matt Meyer fan as a person. I think he's a terrific kid, and I think his upside is amazing. But if you look at, I think I read yesterday, may have been a Mark Vital tweet or something he put on Instagram, but there's 296 guys that have declared for the NBA draft early. That doesn't include seniors, and that does not include international players.
Wow.
And you're picking 60 guys. And I made a list on SicEm365 Premium of all the guys that are 6'6" to 6'9" that have real college production. It's a pretty long list. So you're talking 20, 25 guys already that have average 15, 16 points a game, shoot the three well, have the Matt Meyer measurables. So I know he had a great tournament. I know the pros are excited about his upside, but I really think it could be like a Torian Prince situation where he comes back for his senior year. He puts the numbers up to show that the things that they're excited about him, translate into production and consistency on the basketball court. I think he's a guy that could average 15 plus, 6 rebounds, shoot over 40% from three. I'd love to see him get that foul shooting percentage up over 80%. All those things, if he does that and continues to improve on his focus and his defensive intensity, sky's the limit. He could be a lottery pick. I mean, this guy's got things you can't teach. I mean, he's incredibly athletic, can handle the ball, can shoot the three, And his second leap is just amazing. Like, he's able to get off the ground, on offensive rebounding situations really well. So I'm excited about him, but I do think he needs a year of college to really prove that, his maximum value can be shown.
Ashley, along with that, looking at Baylor's season next year and how the non-conference shapes up. I mean, you got a chance to see Matthew Meyer against a guy like Colin Gillespie against Villanova in December. That matchup out of the Big 12 Big East Challenge, I'm not sure if Baylor could have gotten a more exciting draw.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor, Scott Drew's schedule's really tough, and I love that about him. I mean, some of this is dictated by the Big East Challenge and the SEC Challenge. I mean, I've speculated that based on who got road games last year, who got home games last year, Baylor's likely to go on the road to a place like Arkansas, Alabama, maybe Kentucky, because Kentucky got their home game canceled against Texas. I think that was going to be a home game, so maybe they'll get another home game this year as a result. But, I think Baylor's going to have a terrific SEC opponent. They're going to go to Oregon. That's going to be an incredible game. They got Villanova at home, terrific game for the fans in Waco. And then they got that tournament in the Bahamas and, Michigan State, Syracuse, VCU. There's a couple other heavyweights in there that aren't coming to mind off the Loyola Chicago. But it's a stacked field. They got 3 games against those opponents. So as far as non-conference is concerned, Baylor's going to be playing 5-6 really tough games again. And then, I'm sure they'll have the usual suspects, more regional teams that will come to Waco. And then, of course, the gauntlet of the Big 12 season. So plenty of opportunity to show that you are definitely a first-round pick. And I think, Baylor's got a lot of, potential first-round picks on this team. I don't want to put any limits on any of them. Kendall Brown's being talked about in that way. I think Jonathan Chambwa-Chachua is going to have a breakthrough season. Adam Flagler. I don't want to put any limits on James Akinjo either. I mean, they've got a team of some guys that know how to play basketball and have a bright future in the pros.
Well, I got 2 more questions for you here, Ashley, before we get to our Bear games. The first one being downtown or on campus? Oh,
downtown, no doubt.
I love it.
That's where it needs to be. It's going to revitalize that area. And it's just going to be an extension of campus. I mean, I consider that campus now, but right there at the Robinson Tower, that's where the new field house needs to be.
Ashley, top 5 Baylor quarterbacks all time. Any changes that you would make to Old Sunshine's list?
Got to put my neighbor JJ Joe in there. No, JJ was great. I think that maybe, not enough credit to the older guys, Don Troll, Cody Carlson. But it was a good list. And I certainly would put RG3 number 1. I don't know if I'd have Charlie Brewer in there. I think he's awesome, but I don't know if I'd slip him into the top 5. I think I'd reshuffle that a little bit and maybe knock Brewer out and, put some of those other guys in there, Troll. And but I like the list overall.
And Ashley, our Bear Games question of the day today, if you could go back and change one loss in your team's history, go back and give your favorite team the chance to play back a loss, what would it be?
Well, I think most Baylor basketball fans are going to say that Duke game in 2010. I do think that team was good enough to win it all. And, I think that they were right on the verge of beating Duke. So, winning that game and, perhaps winning their first national championship in 2010 would have been cool. And maybe that would have set the program's trajectory ahead of, and we would be talking about maybe a 3rd or 4th national championship at this point. But, things happen for a reason. And I'm so glad this group of guys were the guys that accomplished this first national championship for Baylor. And hopefully many more to come. I mean, Scott Drew's got it rolling. We talked about this, but with Krzyzewski and Roy Williams retiring, Boeheim soon, and maybe Izzo, there's a changing of the guard in college basketball. And you got guys like Scott Drew, Mark Few, Jay Wright, Tony Bennett, Matt Painter. They're the guys that are kind of taking that baton and becoming the elite coaches now. And so I really think that they may be the dominant players in the game the next 10 to 15 years.
Bring it on. Ashley, hey, thanks for coming on today, breaking down things across the documentary and basketball off-season information. Can't wait to have you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
I love it. Up next, we got Jeff Williams, the voice of TCU baseball, coming on to talk about their regional as they played this weekend. Drake Toll, Jack McKenzie, Andrew Robertson, Marquise Cooley, and Armstrong Sims. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
After decades of success and innovation in the collegiate game, a legend is hanging up the whistle. Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke announced yesterday that he will retire at the conclusion of next year's season. Coach K is the winningest coach in Division I history, with nearly 1,200 wins compared to 300 losses as a head coach at Army and Duke. He has amassed 12 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 regular season titles, and 5 national titles. He also led the United States men's basketball teams to gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016. He'll turn 75 next February. Coach K's successor has been announced as associate head coach John Shire, who played for Krzyzewski from 2006 to 2010. He will take over the position in 2022. Shire has no other head coaching experience. Elsewhere in basketball, Baylor has set a date with preseason top 5 juggernaut Villanova, as Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright will come to Waco for the Big 12 Big East Challenge on Sunday, December 12th. It's the nightcap of the evening. The rematch between Sweet 16 foes is expected to be a top 10 matchup coming to the Farrell Center. South Carolina's guard Seventh Woods is transferring from Frank Martin's program to play his 6th season elsewhere. He started in 13 games last season and was formerly a key backup on the 2017 North Carolina championship team. And former Michigan coach John Beilein has picked up another gig after a short stint with the Cavaliers, as the Pistons have hired him as a senior advisor for player development. And in football, LSU announced yesterday that offensive line coach James Craig is out. No reason was given for his departure. He joined the staff in 2018 with 20 years of experience. And Virginia Tech freshman linebacker E.C. Etude has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder to a killing that took place Tuesday. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
China guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Jersey Thursday, everybody. Talking baseball across the country today. The Division I tournament kicking off this weekend as teams host regionals across the nation. 3 Big 12 teams in the top 8 national seeds, and Oklahoma State going to 5-seed Arizona this weekend. Now joining the show with us, voice of TCU baseball, Jeff Williams. Jeff, here you are again in Fort Worth for regional. This is nothing new.
No, and this is the way you have to roll if you pay a lot of attention to college baseball. The road to Omaha is the skids are greased if you can play not only regional but certainly super regional at home. And TCU is always, their fan base is always shown out, which is why they went 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. They weren't always the host there, but the times they were, they're there.
Jeff, you talk about it, and we mentioned it off air a little bit. I'm looking at different regionals. I mean, teams that are going to Tucson may have a remotely tough time, but I'm looking at Knoxville, where the fan bases are not quite what the rest of the SEC may offer, and they haven't hosted a lot of regionals. Or even looking at South Bend. I mean, those don't scare you going into a regional. But Fort Worth, on the other hand, that's a tough place to play. How well does Fort Worth play into TCU going into the weekend?
Well, it's a compact ballpark with respect to how it's configured for the stands. It'll hold 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, but they're all right there, not even really much past the first and third base lines. They also have the berms and all of that, but they are right on you, and they are into the woo birds. If anything goes wrong, the woo birds are going to be out, and they will just drive up the energy level.
Jeff, you're talking about the ballpark and how well it plays. Just fans. I mean, I've been a couple of times now to Fort Worth, and the way you stack that thing up is remarkable. One of the best, if not the best, facilities in the Big 12 and atmospheres in the country. What is going to play to TCU's advantage field-wise? I mean, is this a hitter's ballpark? We talking more pitching? I mean, where does TCU have an advantage when it comes to the actual complex itself?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see because of the weather forecast coming up this weekend. It can play big, and if it does, then that is when the winds, I looked at it for Friday and Saturday, winds are playing out of the southeast, which is straight in from center field. Now, we've had an unusual spring, obviously, and a lot of north winds, so the park has played a lot smaller. But you've got teams here, McNeese, DBU, TCU, that'll bang it around. But from that standpoint, TCU is kind of in the middle there. They can power it up, but they can also, play the singles game, take advantage of mistakes you made. Whereas teams like DBU and McNeese tend to kind of rely on the home run more than the other teams. Oregon State's not really a big banging club at all, but TCU can kind of do it all. And so if the winds are blowing in and the park's playing a little bit smaller, that's an advantage for the Frogs, I think.
Jeff, I want to go back a little bit here a couple weeks ago for TCU baseball. I'll say a couple weeks. Let's go about a month or so ago to Baylor, TCU, and that series in Fort Worth where Baylor is trying to set themselves up with in Big 12 play with at least a win or two on the first weekend, and then TCU after some struggles in the first game, really blows through Baylor. How key was it for the Horned Frogs to start their conference slate so hot?
I think it was remarkably important, and that's really because TCU, just anytime you're starting off the league against a team that's picked up near the top, but a club like Baylor this year, argument could be made they're the best hitting club in the Big 12. And I don't even know if there's an argument there. They had one of the best batting averages. They bang it around, but TCU's pitching at that time just really kind of shut them down. And it probably caught Baylor, may have been a little bit shocked by it. And there was it reverberated through the weekend because they came in, I think in that game, I remember looking, they were batting .325, which in a Power 5 conference, that's a remarkable team batting average. And TCU just basically shut that down.
Jeff, I love how you said that Baylor was shocked a little bit. And I will say, after playing series against Memphis, Xavier, UTSA, and Prairie View A&M, shocked. That's a little bit different when you go to Fort Worth and have to play TCU on the road. I think shock's a good word. But even looking past that and what TCU was able to do with a sweep of Oklahoma, a sweep of Oklahoma State, and to that point, a lot of folks thought OU was a tournament team. Oklahoma State was a possible host team. I mean, you couldn't ask for a much better start in conference, aside from a loss at Texas Tech, which everybody does.
Oh, yeah, because from late March, really starting kind of with that Baylor series, maybe a little bit of the late non-conference, you went 22-3. From late May into late March into early May, they were just rolling on it. Just like I said, you lose 3 games out of 25 in college baseball. I mean, I don't care who you are, but when you're playing Power 5 clubs, that's just a remarkable achievement, especially against the number 2 RPI conference in the country. And, they had their stumbles along the way. I guess after that, they lost 2 of 3 in their last 3 series. But at that time, they could do no wrong. If they needed what they call Lupton magic, that's something we haven't talked about yet. It's often referred to. I mean, you can walk a guy with 2 outs in the 9th up 7, and you walk a guy, they think they're going to turn that into 7 runs or 8 runs. And it's happened before, by the way.
Yeah. So. Well, Jeff, like you said, I mean, that kind of the series there right after coming off the sweep at West Virginia, you go Texas at home. And then the nation's eyes, anybody that follows college baseball is watching Fort Worth for UT and TCU. Texas takes the tight Friday night game. You win it 2-1 on Saturday. And then a blowout Sunday, losing at home that kind of spirals you into losing 2 out of 3 at home against ULM and then dropping a series to Kansas State. What happened there in that span of 3 weeks for TCU?
I don't really know. I mean, at that time, and this has been pitching has been the thing that Coach Schlossnagle has really had to focus on this year. Early in the year, he had starters, but the bullpen couldn't get anybody other than Halen Green, River Ridings. They have a couple of dominant guys, Chuck King, that come out, but they needed some other guys early on in the year to step up out of the bullpen. The starting pitching kind of rolling along. But then the bullpen kind of got it together, but the starters kind of faltered. Now that's all kind of come together. They're actually probably at this point, from a pitching standpoint, their bullpen is capable, as they did in the championship game against Oklahoma State last week. They can kind of carry a game. That was kind of a Johnny Allstaff type game, and they were able to get through it without us, because your pitching gets taxed in these situations, especially regionals and in if you go to Omaha the same way. The Supers, it's more of a normal weekend series. But it's been a kind of a weird thing. But they're hitting kind of against Texas, and their pitching is unbelievable. The hitting was a problem there with regard to losing those games. But it's been an interesting pitching year. But right now, I think they've got more arms now. But they right now don't necessarily have as many guys that can go as long as they did early in the year with their Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys.
Jeff, in looking at what TCU did against Kansas State to end the season, they played the Wildcats 6 times in 10 days, pulling out some MLB stuff there, and they struggled at times against the Wildcats, even going to Big 12 tournament play, but turned it around to beat Texas Tech pretty soundly. Beating Kansas State by way of mercy rule with 17 runs on the board in Bricktown, winning the Big 12 championship, coming off of a slow start, or a slow finish, I should say, in regular season play. How crucial was it for TCU to win the Big 12 tournament?
I think getting to the Big 12 championship was the ultimate goal. I think if you're talking about trying to set yourself up for seeding, but if you're in the championship game, hey, let's go ahead and win this thing. But their confidence, which may have waned a little bit in those last 3 weekends, I think that's kind of what you're talking about. The confidence level may not have quite been there to fight through what they fought through. Again, they really only had 2, maybe 3 established starters available for the whole tournament, and they were able to fight through it. So now I think in the Big 12 tournament set up just like Omaha, all right? And you've got teams a number of teams in that are Omaha-type talent. Got to think that they're just flying high from a confidence standpoint, because they kind of did a College World Series light sort of. They were able to get through even through the losers bracket, because they did lose that one game to Kansas State, and they were still able to come out on the other end shining purple.
Jeff, I find it interesting you said it plays like Omaha. The only difference is at Bricktown, the ball gets up and gets out. I'm sure you've been to Omaha and seen that it is tough to hit when you go to TD Ameritrade, whereas Bricktown, and you can see it in TCU's numbers, just putting up run production unbelievably well over the course of their week in Oklahoma City. And now moving forward into this tournament, you talk about the Lupton Magic. And I really wanted to talk about the Bricktown Magic with the 7-6 win over Kansas State in Game 1, where it looked like the Wildcats had TCU on the ropes, especially early. Moving from Bricktown Magic and Lupton Magic combined, I mean, how well are those two playing for TCU late in the season where you got to win these games?
Well, it's just there's something, and I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something that Coach Schlossnagle, he gets those kids on there, and then the players that are there, and as they progress through the program and they pass it along, he is able to they never think they're going to lose. They just never think that. They never think it's too far out. You know, you go back several years ago in I think it was the Supers, I believe, at Lupton, they were down big and scored 7 runs, in the final inning to come back and win. And it's a pressure. And this year they're more of a kind of a running team and what they call speed pressure. And they've added that more to their arsenal. Not that they hadn't been able to steal before, but boy, they've cranked it up a notch this year. So, they'll get the walk and they think, all right, that guy's going to score, because in a lot of cases this year, it's a double. You walk a guy and it turns into a double, essentially, effectively. But they never, whatever Coach Schlossnagle instills in those kids and they pass along to the next generation, they just always believe they're going to win. I quite frankly don't think it matters where the venue is.
Well, Jeff, as we move into the regional at TCU and look a little bit closer at some of these teams coming to town, I look at Starkville. Mississippi State is 7th. In the nation, TCU 6. You would think the road would be easier for number 6. Mississippi State has Samford, VCU, and Campbell. None of those are in the top 50 RPI. And granted, VCU's won 21 straight, but it's VCU. TCU has McNeese State, who won the Southland, Oregon State, who won a national championship a couple of years back, DBU, who perennially has a really good baseball club. This Fort Worth regional is nothing to sneeze at.
No, they talk about the most difficult ones, and nobody talks about Fort Worth. And maybe they're that. I think I've seen 3 regionals where especially Arizona, that's a seriously ridiculous field out there. That's anybody's game, including the 4-seed Grand Canyon, because they're close to home, and that's a legit program. But TCU is probably maybe that 4th regional where watch out, because this is a DBU team that has played in Fort Worth. I think this will be their 4th time since 2014. They're right down the road. It's 30 minutes away. And Dan Hefner just has a team that will just crush the baseball. Now, again, they may get taken a little out of their game, but they also are a lot about speed. They're 80 out of 100 stolen bases this year. They have 90 home runs, 106 doubles. So those home runs they've been hitting might turn into doubles. But they, their ballpark probably plays a little easier than what TCU's will this weekend. But DBU's Scary McNeese, the job that Justin Hill has done there. Before he got there, they barely had winning records, and now they've either won a tournament or league championship, I think 3 of the last 5 years. They're a club that is – the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. They've got solid pitching. They've got a star at the plate in Clayton Raspberry's batting .360. 12 double-digit home runs. I think it's 12, 15, 20 doubles. But and you'll notice him if you watch this regional this weekend, he's got the big, giant, full red beard. He can join the Cast Duck dynasty as soon as baseball season is over this year. He's a lot of fun to watch, but he can power the ball out there. And this is a team that's kind of on a roll. In late April, they lost 7 in a row. Then they lost 5 of 6 in early May, but they won 7 of their last 9, went 4-0 in the Southland Conference Championship tournament, and 35-5 was the margin of victory. Now they won the championship 2-1, so that tells you what they did in the first 3 prior to that. But that's your 4 seed, and that's who TCU is going to face. And when you want to throw in another little kind of a scary point for TCU, they've struggled some this year against soft toss lefties. Now, the guy they'll face more than likely, Will Dion, legit ace. He could play. He's probably got Power 5 talent. He's not soft toss, but he's 88 to 92. But he's a guy that has a little bit of a hitchiness to his motion, so it comes at you and it's hard to get a rhythm with him. I've even heard people say it's kind of a hitchiness like Clayton Kershaw. You know, he has that weird little thing he does. Kind of throws you off a little bit. I'm not saying he's Clayton Kershaw, but he kind of has that same sort of motion, but he's thrown 92 innings. I think he's got 5 complete games. He can go the distance on you. So left-handers, TCU has a lot of great left-handed, but they've got more really good lefties than righties at the plate. And so that they're probably going to have to face Will Dion. And again, he's a legit ace.
Jeff, moving into this regional from a health standpoint, I know there are a lot of teams across the country. I mean, Arkansas is one of those. It's a powerhouse, the one overall seed. They're dealing with 2 or 3 guys that would be in that lineup and play in a crucial situation. For TCU, from a health standpoint, I know even going into the last series against Kansas State in the regular season, there were some guys they had just gotten back for that one. For the team now, health standpoint, where is TCU?
I think they're in pretty good shape. I haven't heard yet on Gene Wood's availability. He'd been their regular starter at first base, and he had a couple of things tweaked here and there. And I'm trying to recall, I don't know that we saw him in Oklahoma City. If it was limited. However, they've got some guys that can fill that spot. They've got Shepard, who can play at first base, and then they've also got whenever they face a lefty, and so it may, as it turns out, they may see him anyway. But Austin Henry can also play at first base as well. And so he bats from the right side, and that's kind of the platoon they had sort of set up. So any left-handers that they see, it might be him as well. But I think everybody else much better shape than they were.
How about, Jeff, going into this as well, when you look across the field for TCU, Oregon State, what they bring, McNeese, DBU, if there's one team that scares you the most, who would it be?
Probably DBU. Oregon State is they're the 2 seed. They finished 5th in the league, but this is a team they're limping in. They lost. Now their opponents were tough. Arizona State, Arizona Stanford. They dropped 8 of their last 11, but it also mixed in there a midweek loss to Portland. So they're coming in. All of this slumping for them started when they lost their best bat, Jacob Melton. Outfielder he's the middle game of the Irvine series, shoulder injury, surgery. This guy was their leadoff hitter. He was batting over 400 and ops over 1,100, and huge loss in their lineup. They're 8-11 since he left. And when you look at how they've fared, really, and again, their RPI I think is 22. You may have that in front of you, but I think they're very highly rated. But if you look, they were 4-11 against the top 25, 4-5 against the top. Or 26 to 50, so they're 8-16 against the top 50. They made their record, which is 34-22, against 51 and above, 26-6. They really crushed it there. Well, they're not going to see those teams here this weekend, so I'm not quite sure what to expect from them. They are obviously a perennial power. Second-year head coach, though, so they may still be trying to build it up. Pat Casey was unbelievable there, especially in the middle aughts, and then a few years ago won another national championship. But I'm going to have to see it, I think, from them. They'll probably go with Kevin Abel early on. He's a very good pitcher, but he's a guy that that's their Friday night guy. He's had a nice year, 3.42 ERA. Opponents batting barely over 150. But here's the thing. He doesn't last very long. If he ends up not pitching early and they save him, hey, maybe we can play TCU. he's a guy. No one runs up a pitch count like the TCU offense does, but he's a guy. He had 15 wild pitches, hit 17 batters this year, walks a lot of guys, strikes out a lot of guys, and so those kind of guys just generally tend not to last too deep. He's had a few go deep, but there have been games where he's been 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings, and then so you're going to put a lot of pressure on your bullpen, and in a tournament like this, you get toward the end of it, that's tough, if you're really taxing your bullpen like that.
Well, Jeff, before we get you out of here, I want to thank you for coming on today and giving us perspective on TCU going to this regional. And I know we got a skin in the game, not so much for Baylor when it comes to making this postseason, but TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. We're doing a wraparound and a lot of coverage today on those 3 teams, national seeds going into the tournament. Do want to say outside of baseball, Jamie Asbury, the star for Oklahoma State women's basketball, has officially announced she's transferring to Baylor. So a huge pickup for Nikki Collin, one of the best players in the Big 12. Asbury and Mack last season were unstoppable for Oklahoma State. She'll be in a Baylor uniform next year. Jeff, thanks again for coming on. Before we let you get out of here, got our Bear Games question of the day for you. If you could go back, this is all guests and callers. Get the Bear Games question of the day every day. If you could go back and allow your favorite team to replay one game in any sport in their history, what would it be?
The Catch. Dallas Cowboys.
Wow. I was looking for like a TCU Baylor, maybe a...
okay. Well, if you want to go to college...
but the catch makes sense. And no one said that yet. But Let's go to your TCU game. So you got your pro game. Give me your college game.
It'd probably be the game against Baylor down in Waco. And I was on the sidelines for that. I was doing sideline for radio, and Griffin he was just closing his eyes and throwing it. I swear. And he had guys that were catching it. Was it 49, 48, 48, 47? I can't remember the score, but it was probably a decade, Robert Griffin III. That game just tore it up for me.
I think that was 11. I'm pretty sure that was 2011. That was one of his. Yeah. That was like one of the last years in Floyd Casey when Baylor, RG3 that was his game that he exploded. That was one of the first games of the year too. That was odd how early those 2 teams played, if I remember correctly. I thought you'd say 61-58, the score that Baylor fans will never forget, McLean Stadium. But Jeff, I want to thank you again for coming on today. It was a pleasure to talk to you and get your perspective going into the weekend.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks again. Jeff Williams joining us, the voice of TCU baseball, talking about them going to the regional this weekend. Do want to say that we're gonna camp out just for a second here. Before we get to Kyle Umlang, that Jamie Asbury has committed to Baylor. She is transferring to Baylor. What an upgrade in the Baylor backcourt. That is nuts. Natasha Mack and Jamie Asbury were the 2 players to watch last season for Baylor for Oklahoma State women's basketball. And now Asbury being at Baylor is huge for Nikki Collin. Those 2 players were so good in Big 12 play, and Asbury's the reason that OSU was able to make a bit of a run in the NCAA tournament, to make it to the NCAA tournament. Massive, huge pickup for Nikki Collin as Jamie Asbury is coming from Oklahoma State. I'm looking right now, trying to pull up their stat book from this past season. And Jamie Asbury, again, one of the top players for them, a starter for them along with Natasha Mack, started in 28 games, averaged 35 minutes a game last season. She shot almost 40% from the field, 78 made three-pointers, 42% three-point shooter, 70% at the line last year. She averaged 17 points per game for Oklahoma State. 2.5 rebounds per game. She had 105 assists on the season, 44 steals across the course of those 28 games that she played in and started 35 minutes a game, 17 points per game. Jamie Asbury now joining the Baylor Lady Bears next season via transfer. Huge pickup for Nikki Collin. We haven't heard a lot of news out of women's basketball recently, and that is massive to bolster this roster. After losing Moon Urson, you bring in a 17-point-per-game player in Jamie Asbury. Nikki Collin, victory. Consider that a huge victory for Baylor women's basketball. Drake Toll alongside Andrew Robertson. We got Jack McKenzie, Marquise Cooley, and Armstrong Sims. When we come back, we'll be joined by Kyle Umlang from Texas, a Texas analyst, to talk about the Texas baseball regional this weekend in Austin. Again, Jamie Asbury, now a Lady Bear. When we come back, Kyle Umlang, this, don't go anywhere, is Up Tempo.
After decades of success and innovation in the collegiate game, a legend is hanging up the whistle. Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke announced yesterday that he will retire at the conclusion of next year's season. Coach K is the winningest coach in Division I history with nearly 1,200 wins compared to 300 losses as a head coach at Army and Duke. He has amassed 12 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 regular season titles, and 5 national titles. He also led the United States men's basketball teams to gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016. He'll turn 75 next February. Coach K's successor has been announced as associate head coach John Shire, who played for Krzyzewski from 2006 to 2010. He will take over the position in 2022. Shire has no other head coaching experience. Elsewhere in basketball, Baylor has set a date with preseason top 5 juggernaut Villanova as Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright will come to Waco for the Big 12 Big East Challenge on Sunday, December 12th. It's the nightcap of the evening. The rematch between Sweet 16 foes is expected to be a top 10 matchup coming to the Farrell Center. South Carolina's guard Seventh Woods is transferring from Frank Martin's program to play his 6th season elsewhere. He started in 13 games last season and was formerly a key backup on the 2017 North Carolina championship team. And former Michigan coach John Beilein has picked up another gig after his short stint with the Cavaliers, as the Pistons have hired him as a senior advisor for player development. And in football, LSU announced yesterday that offensive line coach James Craig is out. No reason was given for his departure. He joined the staff in 2018 with 20 years of experience. And Virginia Tech freshman linebacker E.C. Etude has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder to a killing that took place Tuesday. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screen screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool, upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts, and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
I got breaking news here. We got Western Athletic Conference just announced they're adding several schools.
The WAC.
The WAC.
Okay. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
I think Coach Gundy would be like my guy that I would just like just the hair. Yeah. I just want to be able to see it flow when I kind of slam his arm down.
Here's Drake Toll.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Moving back from our remote setup on the other side of the room back to the big desk today, working through some technical difficulties. Sorry about that for the delay. Joined now after Jeff Williams, the voice of TCU baseball, and again, Jimmy Asbury transferring to Baylor. Joined now by our now resident, we're going to call him our now resident Texas analyst, Kyle Umlang, joining the show. Kyle, thanks for coming on today. Excited to get your perspective on some UT Diamond Ball.
Yeah, good to be here. How are you?
I mean, I tell you what, it's like we've been saying on the show all week. You know, you feel like sports are going to slow down when it gets the early part of June, and they just don't. I mean, everything is still breaking and keeping us busy. But for those that I'm sure you've seen, Kyle Umlang, a now renowned author, your Aggie Facts Week. Walk me through, Kyle, a little bit before we get into baseball, your history with Texas athletics and the Twitter presence that you've built.
Yeah, so I hopped on to Twitter in 2019 for data-related purposes to try and learn more about how to visualize my data for grad school. And I found this whole college football world that I didn't know existed on Twitter. And I started posting stats, which is what I like to do in my free time. And they're blown up. They've blown up, and the more unique and weird they are, the better they do. And then it turned into people trying to come back with my stats with something else, and I would retort, and those would blow up even more. So now people call on me if they have a question about a stat, or if they need help with finding an answer for something, or if they just want me to rag on Aggies, which I love doing every day. So that's how I got here.
Kyle, that turns into podcasts and now a book. I mean, take me through the book that seems to be doing just about as well as it can, your 101 Aggie Facts.
Yes, it's so, as you know, on Thursdays, I post Aggie Facts. A lot of them are funny. A lot of them are hard-hitting journalism. They're fun to do, and they're all true. And so I don't know where I got the idea. I think it was during quarantine when there was nothing going on, no sports. I was bored, sitting at home. I was like, well, maybe I can make like a collector's item for people who might want it. And I started going through all my Aggie Facts from the past year. And I was like, man, I have a lot of them. And I picked my 100 best ones, or my 100 favorite ones, and put them all into a book. And now that's out for sale. Makes a good coffee table item or a good gift for your Aggie relative. Yeah, everyone loves it.
I love it. One of today's, you've got across all sports, Texas A&M averaged 4 conference championships a season in the Big 12, but are only averaging 2 a season in the SEC. But the Big, I mean, all of these are so good. Again, Kyle Umlang on Twitter, you can find him there. A lot of data and analytics. Kyle, like I said, we've talked to the voice of TCU baseball. We got Jeff Haxon, the voice of Texas Tech, joining us later in the show. And we got a big weekend of baseball coming up in Austin too for the Texas Longhorns. I mean, the number 2 overall seed in the country this season. Was that expected of this team coming into the year?
I mean, they started 0-3 against their starting little tournament they had with the SEC. And I dug around. I was like, well, I'm not too worried about it, because those aren't conference teams. It's not going to help them win a championship. They're not going to play anymore, really. So I looked, and the last time they started the season 0-3, they won the Big 12 championship. And so I posted that And then last week when they won it, when Kansas State beat TCU, I retweeted my tweet from back then. I was like, see, told y'all. And so I haven't been worried because they blew through the Big 12 schedule with no issues. I mean, Tech was their only team they didn't win the series against. So it's been a while since they've dominated like that in conference. So I wasn't worried. I knew they'd be. I knew they would get a good region. I was hoping top 4 seed, and they got number 2. So I'm not mad about it. I'm very, very impressed with all the hard work they did this season to get to that spot. I think they're in a good position to make Super Regionals and World Series.
Kyle, since that 0-3 start, Texas has 42 wins and just 12 losses. That's 42-15 overall this season with the 22nd best strength of schedule. This team, and as good as they have been, I kind of touched on it there a bit. I mean, really coming into the year, did Texas fans think that this was a team that had Omaha aspirations or even national championship aspirations?
I didn't know about national championship aspirations. I thought they were a great team last year. I was upset that the whole season got derailed. The same thing with like the softball team. I thought both were in great positions last year to do well. And I knew it was still pretty strong this year. So I thought there's no way they're not going to at least make the tournament and then have it through the season when they were blown through their schedule. I was like, this team is a really good shot of going to Omaha. And I still think they will do well this weekend. They might get a little hairy with the Super Regional if they have to play like Florida or something, but I'm pretty confident they'll do well.
Kyle, with that, you got Arizona State coming to town, just 32-20 this year, RPI 40th best team. Fairfield, the second best RPI team because of their record at 37-3, but 164th strength of schedule, no top 20 or no top 50 games. And then Southern, who they are 8 games under 500. It seems like a pretty playable regional, fair regional for UT.
Yeah, I was just looking at these stats earlier, and yeah, you're right. Southern has no wins against top 50. Same thing with Fairfield. Texas has 12. Pretty good strength schedule. Like you said, Fairfield, they play conference only, so their record indicates that. So I'm not really paying attention to their RPI. There's no way they're number 2 and Texas is 6. But yeah, so I think Arizona State might be their only real competition, but I think pitching will come through, and our batting, I think we'll be fine in the regional.
Kyle, with that, I'm seeing some of these batters. We saw Zubia Melendez come to Baylor earlier this year and really did well. Texas taking 2 out of 3 against the Bears in Waco before that Sunday game that Baylor was able to sneak up on UT. Looking for you around this team, I mean, are there any guys that kind of stand out to you as the bell cows of this Texas squad?
I think Ivan Melendez, the Hispanic Titanic, is how he's known on the 40 acres. I always look for him to have a good game. He's got 11 home runs. He was 3 home runs away from like tying an NCAA record of consecutive home runs in games. I know he'll do well. We got crazy good pitching with Ty Madden. He was Big 12 Pitcher of the Year. We got a couple all Big 12 guys. Mike Antico. I think we got a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of good defense. You can list everyone really on the team.
Texas so loaded this year. I mean, top to bottom. We talked about last year would have been a big year for UT, and they've really past that COVID year, brought it back this season to have a solid squad that, again, Omaha aspirations. When it comes to playing in Austin, how crucial is it for this squad to be at home?
It is the biggest advantage that you could think of. And now that it's 100% capacity, it was just said a couple of days ago or whatever, it's going to be bumping there. I don't think Dish has had a sold out game since probably 2018. Last time they went to the World Series. So it's going to be bumping. It's going to be loud fans, crazy fans. We got rested pitchers from going out early on the Big 12 tourney. I think we're going to step up and just maybe run roll everyone.
You know, Augie was there for so long and had such great success as the head coach of Texas with two national championships in 02 and 05. And, I'm looking here, that 2014 World Series run that they were able to make. And then you go to the David Pierce era, where now Pierce has been to that 2018 College World Series, but you're looking at, hey, in 6 seasons, he has got the opportunity to maybe go twice. What is your assessment of what Pierce has done to follow the legend?
He's made tournament appearances 3 of the last 4 or 5 years, 2 of the last 3 full seasons. I think he's doing well. I'm saying that because this is a good year. So as long as it keeps going up, I'm happy with him. He got big shoes to fill, replacing a legend. So, I think he's doing well. I'm happy with everything he's doing.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, for you in this weekend, do you have any plans to get down and to the ballpark and see Texas play in this regional?
I will not be watching in person, but I will 100% be watching on the interweb.
And then if Omaha comes into play, you've got to get tickets to go, right?
We'll see. Well, I'm sure they're very expensive. We'll see.
Especially coming off of a COVID year, I'm sure. Kyle, for you too, we talked about the book and everything you've done to build the following on Twitter and get to the point that you've made it. What's next for you? We talk about trajectory in covering Texas from an analytics standpoint. Really, what's the big overall goal?
Big overall goal is somehow work my way into the UT system. I don't know if that's some sort of position in some athletic form somewhere, maybe Longhorn Network, who knows? The world is open to anything. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing until I get somewhere good, hopefully related to UT. But,
there you
go. Yeah.
Well, I got one last question for you here, our Bear Games question of the day, Kyle. This one centers around any sport. We give it to all of our guests and callers, and the question of the day is, for your team, if you can go back and erase one loss or allow that team to replay a game, which loss in any sport would it be?
2008, Texas Tech. That one was a dagger. It's just one play that needs to be redone. Not even the whole game, just one play. And it's a guaranteed national championship appearance against Florida. I think we would have dominated Florida because we beat Ohio State, no issue. So that's a missed championship. I think would have snowballed into the next season with the whole butterfly effect. Colt wouldn't have gotten hurt if he was already national championship. So that's 2 missed national championships, all due back to that one game. So there's your answer.
Boom.
Football.
08, we're taking it back. Crabtree falls down before he makes it to the end zone, and Texas Tech loses to Texas. Hey,
trips up, falls out of bounds. Boom.
Like that. There it is, and Texas takes it home to the national championship. Kyle, I want to thank you for coming on today, giving us some perspective on Texas and their series this weekend of the regional. It'll be a good one, and we're all reluctantly rooting for the other Big 12 teams still left.
Yeah. We'll see on Twitter how much you're rooting for us. We'll see.
Bingo. There you go. Hey, Kyle, thanks again for coming on.
Okay. Thanks, man, for having me. Have a good one.
You too. Again, Kyle Umlang joining the show today, talking Texas baseball. I do want to touch before we get into a break, and then we're joined by Jeff Haxton at 1:30. I want to touch on a little bit here, College World Series. Also, I'm looking at this Texas series this weekend. Like we talked about, I do want to give a bit of a recap here. It's just wide open for Texas to win. They've got Southern. RPI 265, strength of schedule 286. They're 20-28, 8 games under 500 with a strength of schedule that's in well past 250. They're not even a quad 4 team. Technically you have to be, but they're just almost as bad that they don't have to be. 0-6 versus top 50. Their pitching has a 7.38 ERA as a team, which is awfully bad. Strikeouts per 9 innings, they're 230th in the country with 7.6. Their strikeouts per walk, it's only a 1.61, which is 219th. Texas is 5th in the country in that statistic. Batting average as a team, Texas at 278. Southern's at 224. Those are rankings in the country. No. Those are Texas Southern is 224th in the nation. Texas is 86. Texas batting 278, Southern batting 251. That's their first round matchup if they get past Southern, which they will. They got Arizona State, RPI 50, strength of schedule 36. Their record this season, 32-20, 7-11 versus top 50. They got a shot to knock off Texas. They got a guy in Long that's got 53 RBI. He's probably their best hitter. 16 home runs, definitely their best hitter this season. 408 on-base percentage. A couple of pitchers that are decent, but also I'm looking at, their strikeouts per 9 innings. They're not a strikeout team. They walk a lot of guys in comparison. Their batting average is pretty decent. They're going to hit the ball well. They don't pitch that well. The team ERA, 5.71. That's not very good. That's not very good at all. And then Fairfield's numbers are nuts. They've been so good all season long. Batting average is great. Pitching great. Slugging great. On base percentage as a team is 400. They look spectacular. Fairfield's strength of schedule, 164th in the nation. They have not played a single top 50 team. They're 37-3. They made it in as an at-large over Baylor. Fairfield, at-large. 37-3 is great, but come on, man. Fairfield. They make it in. They got a couple of guys in Guerrero and Cullen that can make some noise this weekend, and a couple of pitchers that are decent. But Fairfield, Arizona State is a first-round matchup, and then Texas and Southern, that another first-round matchup. Looking right now, NCAA softball. Very interesting score in Oklahoma City. James Madison playing number 1 Oklahoma right now, 3-3 after 6 innings. We're going to the 7th inning, and James Madison, unseeded, no seed going into this tournament, upset Tennessee on the road, upset Missouri and Como, now has Oklahoma on the ropes in Oklahoma City in the NCAA Softball World Series. Looking at the bracket for the tournament, the winner of that game will take on the winner of Georgia and Oklahoma State. That game's played at 2:30 today, so here coming up in about an hour. You've got Alabama and Arizona at 7 o'clock tonight in the World Series. That's a 3 seed and an 11 seed. Arizona won the Super Regional on the road at Arkansas. Alabama came away with theirs handedly at home. Florida State, the 10 seed, against number 2 UCLA. 2 UCLA struggle with Virginia Tech. Those two teams square off at 9:30 tonight. Women's College World Series, 2 Big 12 teams left with number 1 Oklahoma, number 5 Oklahoma State. Both teams playing unseeded squads. OU tied with James Madison right now. That game on ESPN. Looking at, again, big news in Baylor athletics with Jamie Asbury coming to town and deciding to join the Lady Bears. It's a huge pickup considering what she did last season with Oklahoma State. Ryan Moy here, 5'5", averaged 17 points per game. She made 78 threes last season, which is more than 2 per game. She's going to open up the floor for our bigs with an outside threat. So now you build a squad that has Jamie Asbury. You've got Nalissa Smith, shooter in Jaden Owens and what she'll be able to bring to the court next season. A big in Queen Egbo that's solid. Again, Nalissa Smith's so versatile, she can do it pretty much all. Caitlin Bickle, the senior coming back, she's another versatile player. You add Jamie Asbury to that list. 78 threes. Baylor did not have a player this past season who could shoot the ball that well from the outside. So you make a trade. You trade Moon Urson going to LSU, and you bring in Jamie Asbury. Again, Moon Urson, they're like 5'5" and could dunk. Unbelievable athletic talent. She's making her way to LSU, and now you have coming to town Jamie Asbury from Oklahoma State, who was a 1-2 punch with Natasha Mack last season and had a really good year for the Lady Cowgirls. Now we read off some of those stats, shooting 70% of the line, over 70% of the line, 17 points per game. Not great in the rebound numbers, but solid assist numbers at around 4 assists per game. So a big pickup for Nikki Collin. That's going to bring something big to the table for Baylor as they add transfer Jamie Asbury. I'm looking at some of the other numbers here. This is a SicEm365 report they let out Thursday afternoon. It was released. 5'5" guard from Tulsa, 17 points per game on 49% from three-point range. Started all 28 of Oklahoma State's games this past season as a redshirt junior. Second leading scorer on the team, and they reached the NCAA tournament, finished 19-9, 13-5 in Big 12 play, averaged 16 points in her games against Baylor last year, against a really good Mulkey defense. Oklahoma State defeated Wake Forest in the first round of the tournament, led by Asbury, after being knocked out by Stanford, the eventual national champion, in round 2. The news comes nearly immediately after the news that former Lady Bear point guard Moon Urson would head to Baton Rouge to follow Kim Mulkey to LSU. Wow, man. Huge that Baylor's able to pick up Jimmy Asbury. So we got that. I mean, full list of stuff going on in college athletics today. Andy Thomas is an All-American. Baylor track sending around 20 athletes to the Eugene, Oregon National Championship meet on June 9th to the 12th. D2 Baseball Championship is going on with Seton Hill. Coach K retiring, and John Shire is picking up that job at Duke after Coach K leaves next season. Virginia Tech player arrested, charged with second-degree murder. And Dallas, we got also listed today that Dave Campbell, Texas High School Football, has Dave Aranda outside of the top 10 in college football coaches. And obviously starting tomorrow with the Women's College World Series today, headed to the bottom of the 7th between Oklahoma and James Madison. And then starting tomorrow, we get action in college baseball as regionals kick off. Talked about that earlier. The easiest one being Knoxville. And I'm telling you, it's going to be tough for anybody to make it out of Arizona, or the easiest. The toughest ones being in Knoxville and Arizona. Easiest ones being Texas getting a breeze, Starkville getting a breeze. We'll have an eye on those and more updates coming up tomorrow. When we come back from this, we're joined by the voice of Texas Tech baseball, Jeff Haxton. The last half hour of the show, rounding it out with a staple in Big 12 when it comes to baseball voices. Haxton, the same guy that caught that foul ball earlier this year, too, from the radio booth. Texas Tech, number 8 overall seed in the country, playing the Lubbock Regional against Army, North Carolina, and UCLA. UCLA poses a large threat. Army's a tough first-round get, but being in Lubbock is going to bode so well for a Texas Tech squad that is one of the best when it comes to playing at home. Jeff Haxton joins us to talk Texas Tech, Army, North Carolina, and UCLA when we come back. Would like to remind you that the first hour at all of SicEm365's Uptempo today is brought to you by Banson Business Services, owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 premium member Jonathan Green. Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. Banson specializes in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can even help you with your taxes. Their business helps you run your business. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson for more information. That is BANCIN. When we come back, it's Jeff Haxton, Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims, Marquise Cooley, and Andrew Robertson in studio today. Jeff Haxton on the other side of this. Don't go anywhere. This is Uptempo.
After decades of success and innovation in the collegiate game, a legend is hanging up the whistle. Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke announced yesterday that he will retire at the conclusion of next year's season. Coach K is the winningest coach in Division I history, with nearly 1,200 wins compared to 300 losses as a head coach at Army and Duke. He has amassed 12 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 regular season titles, and 5 national titles. He also led the United States men's basketball teams to gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016. He'll turn 75 next February. Coach K's successor has been announced as associate head coach John Shire, who played for Krzyzewski from 2006 to 2010. He will take over the position in 2022. Shire has no other head coaching experience. Elsewhere in basketball, Baylor has set a date with preseason top 5 juggernaut Villanova, as Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright will come to Waco for the Big 12 Big East Challenge on Sunday, December 12th. It's the nightcap of the evening. The rematch between Sweet 16 foes is expected to be a top 10 matchup coming to the Farrell Center. South Carolina's guard Seventh Woods is transferring from Frank Martin's program to play his 6th season elsewhere. He started in 13 games last season and was formerly a key backup on the 2017 North Carolina championship team. And former Michigan coach John Beilein has picked up another gig after a short stint with the Cavaliers, as the Pistons have hired him as a senior advisor for player development. And in football, LSU announced yesterday that offensive line coach James Craig is out. No reason was given for his departure. He joined the staff in 2018 with 20 years of experience. And Virginia Tech freshman linebacker E.C. Etude has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder to a killing that took place Tuesday. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Uptempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den, joined today by Jeff Haxton, the voice of right here. We'll reset and come back to play celebrity birthdays in this day in sports history. Again, Jeff Haxton, the voice of Texas Tech baseball. Also, Jamie Asbury transferring to Baylor today. Kamaria Daniels going to be back next season from injury. She set out this past season. Just nuts what Nikki Collins going to have next year. National championship caliber team. The rich get richer with Jimmy Asbury coming to town. Rolling with the at Armstrong's Minute. We come back. Drake Toll, Jack McKenzie, Marquise Cooley, Armstrong, Sims, and Andrew Robertson. This is Up Tempo.
After decades of success and innovation in the collegiate game, a legend is hanging up the whistle. Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke announced yesterday that he will retire at the conclusion of next year's season. Coach K is the winningest coach in Division I history, with nearly 1,200 wins compared to 300 losses as a head coach at Army and Duke. He has amassed 12 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships, 12 regular season titles and 5 national titles. He also led the United States men's basketball teams to gold medals in 2008, 2012, and 2016. He'll turn 75 next February. Coach K's successor has been announced as associate head coach John Shire, who played for Krzyzewski from 2006 to 2010. He will take over the position in 2022. Shire has no other head coaching experience. Elsewhere in basketball, Baylor has set a date with preseason top 5 juggernaut Villanova, as Colin Gillespie and Jay Wright will come to Waco for the Big 12 Big East Challenge on Sunday, December 12th. It's the nightcap of the evening. The rematch between Sweet 16 foes is expected to be a top 10 matchup coming to the Farrell Center. South Carolina's guard Seventh Woods is transferring from Frank Martin's program to play his 6th season elsewhere. He started in 13 games last season and was formerly a key backup on the 2017 North Carolina championship team. And former Michigan coach John Beilein has picked up another gig after a short stint with the Cavaliers, as the Pistons have hired him as a senior advisor for player development. And in football, LSU announced yesterday that offensive line coach James Craig is out. No reason was given for his departure. He joined the staff in 2018 with 20 years of experience. And Virginia Tech freshman linebacker E.C. Etute has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder to a killing that took place Tuesday. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
Welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. There's your little sports blurb update today. What? Hey, can we hear you now? Can we hear you? Can we hear him?
Yes.
Yeah, you.
Howdy.
That's what you open with?
Howdy. Yep.
Yeah, that's your opener. Wow, I thought you were talking over there. That's so you have a little softball update for us. You're gonna give us some score and recap over there.
Softball update. The juggernaut that is OU has fallen.
Juggernaut, the Olympus has fallen.
Yep. James Madison, my pick to win the FBS football in the spring.
FCS.
Obviously, my FCS. Whatever.
That'd be a stupid FBS
that would be an FBS pick. But me and Armstrong's team, James Madison, has taken down the juggernaut that is OU 4-3. So that's their
mine and Armstrong's team.
Is that really the correct grammar there?
Yeah.
I did not know. I stick by what I said.
Thank you.
But no, James Madison, OU. OU's dead. First loss. It's double elimination, right? So huge win for James Madison.
They're effectively dead. I think you make a great point there.
Yeah, I mean, this is how many times have they lost this season? How many times in the postseason have they lost?
None times.
So
this is their first loss since a long time.
There you go.
Third loss overall. They're 46-3 now.
Can they overcome adversity? Guess we'll see.
Just remains to be told. You going to keep us updated on that?
I absolutely will keep you updated on that.
Really? When does Oklahoma play next?
Probably tomorrow.
Okay. How likely is that?
How likely do they play tomorrow?
Yeah.
100%.
Wow. Wow. Off the dome.
100%.
Jeez.
Wait, do they play tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they do. So there you go.
Wow.
Actually, I know they do.
Really?
No.
Okay. Celebrity birthdays. It is Lola Ann Clark's birthday. How old is Lola Ann Clark?
I'm going to say they're 4. Because they're celebrity twins or something like that.
Okay. I like that guess.
No. Oh. Lola Ann Clark. Not Lola Ann Clark.
I thought you said
I was
Lola
also
and
confused about
Clark.
that.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, now I'm going to say 60.
67.
Okay. Marquise, just shout something out loud as you can.
54.
Oh, she's 18. Jill Biden.
Oh.
Jill Biden, wife of the President Joe Biden. In case you were wondering.
70.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, Joe Biden's 70. Pretty sure Joe Biden's 84.
That's what I was going to say. I thought Joe Biden was way older than that.
Maybe he's 78. Maybe Joe Biden's only 78.
I thought he was in his
8-year
80s.
difference, though. Think about that.
I don't know.
When she was 10, he was 18.
Don't be doing this.
When she was 6, he was
78.
14. He's 17. Rafael Nadal's birthday is today.
Oh, the GOAT.
Rafael Nadal.
I think it's 38. That's a good guess. I think he might be he might be 40 now. I think 41.
Okay.
Armstrong? Rafa Nadal?
When he was 20, she was 12.
Oh my god.
Yes! Yes!
I'm gonna say 38.
The same as Marquise?
35.
Wow.
Anderson Cooper's birthday today. How old's Anderson Cooper? Hardly know her.
55.
That's a good guess. 50.
54 for Anderson Cooper. Cole Walters is a birthday today. Nobody knows who that is. Josephine Baker. Anybody a big Josephine Baker fan?
Armstrong?
I have no idea who that is.
All right, last one for celebrity birthdays. Life Jennings, the R&B hit singer Life Jennings is how old today?
42.
Okay.
42.
39.
I got 60.
43.
Wow.
And Jalen Suggs, actually. I forgot Jalen Suggs' birthday is today.
Who?
Jalen. I'm not going to say. Jalen Suggs' birthday today.
20. Yeah, nice.
He is 20. Nice. I'm older than Jalen Suggs.
Oh
Thani bin Hamad.
That's scary.
Religious leader.
He's scary.
Thani bin Hamad.
200.
80.
We have 80, 200, and...
87.
Oh, 41. Happy birthday, Thani bin Hamad.
Congratulations.
Yeah, this is a big day for this guy.
Oh, he lost a lot of age.
Does it ever concern you that we are both older than like Jalen Suggs, who's about to make like a $1 gajillion in the NBA?
First baseball uniforms worn when the New York Knickerbockers wear a uniform of straw hats, white shirts, and blue long trousers. That was the first ever baseball uniform. Straw hats, white shirts.
1834.
51. Casey at the Bat, the baseball poem, first published.
Yes.
In what year?
What a great poem.
Iconic poem.
08.
1851.
1888. 1888. MLB Draft. Adley Rushman, the first overall pick by LeBalt. Oh, no. Rats.
Later, guys.
Fiddlesticks. You just gotta let it consume you sometimes. You just gotta let it consume you. You feel it? Like I think we take for granted how good the music is every now and then. You know? That right there, when the rest of it drops, nuts good. Yeah. Drake Toll, Andrew Robertson, Marquise Cooley, Jack McKenzie. Give the folks at home a little wave there, Jack. Armstrong Sims. Come back tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Our 100th show is on Monday. Tomorrow makes 98. This is Up Tempo.